I'm on the mission, snap any minute, casually winning. Stop tripping on me, stop dissing on me. Yeah, I got a dream, can't take it from me. My fire's burning, now I'm always learning. Tell me where to go, man, I'm on a journey. Yeah, I can't explain it, I get excited. Keep it 300, King Leonidas. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast, I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes, I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete, well get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited, like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete, well get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
We're heading into week 3, and with half the season already behind us, LG are still undefeated. Their perfect record and their spot at the top of the leaderboard, though, means that the middle of the pack is even more exciting.
Well, speaking of the middle of the pack, things get interesting today for a number of teams, notably including Truly and Mayhem. Truly currently sitting in 4th place and Mayhem in 5th. They've got some big matches today against each other as well to decide who'll go further up the table.
Obviously, Rejects have maintained their undefeated record, and they will continue to look to do that, as, like you mentioned, Truly have a big matchup up against them as well. We'll see if we have the same as in our 3rd challenge season, where they were undefeated heading into the final week versus LG.
We've got lots of stories here today, and all of them will unfold, so let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Going till a player on top, know it. Rooftop, penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion. We put in this time. Look, you won't stop.
Welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where today is week 3 of Call of Duty Mobile for NA. It's a very important week for some of our teams, as the boys mentioned earlier, and I can't wait to get into all of the action. My name is Glitter Explosion, and we've got the crew back with us, ready to go. We've got Infinity and Bobby ready to tackle week 3. A little bit of a shorter week this time around, but it's still going to be a good one here, Brody.
Yeah, it is indeed. We were waiting for this week. This is the week where we get some great matches ahead of us. I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but we have some matches that should be super competitive. We've already kind of identified what our top 4 teams are or so in the competition, and I think we might get a little clash of some of those teams today.
Yeah, it's been a little bit difficult to evaluate the NA teams just because there is such a big gap between like the top 4 and the bottom 4, but we've got 2 big-time top 4 matches that are definitely going to be determining factors, and more than likely the seeding that we're going to see heading into the playoffs for the challenge season.
Absolutely. Now, as always, if you guys have somehow missed the previous weeks, you can always just follow us on social media between our X, Insta, and Facebook for any updates related to Snapdragon Pro Series, or you can join us on Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series to join the community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and continue getting those updates. But this week, we decided to make it a little bit easier on you when it comes to knowing how everything's been playing out here in the challenge season, and not just for NA. We've also decided to fill you in a little bit on some of the other regions and what has been going on in their challenge seasons as well. We've got a whole video to break it all down, so let's check it out.
Welcome to the Road to Masters, a weekly video where I'll be breaking down all the COD Mobile action in the Snapdragon Pro Series and explaining how it could all end up impacting our teams' qualification for the biggest tournament of the year, the Snapdragon Mobile Masters. All right, we got a lot to cover this week as both NA and Europe continued their challenge season, and Latin America stepped into the fray with their first night of the challenge season. In North America, Luminosity and the Rejects continued their dominance on their respective roads to redemption after their disappointing finishes at Worlds. LG took on Team Disciples, who did come into this match undefeated, but had yet to prove themselves against one of the top squads. Well, they certainly didn't look like a real challenge for LG after the first hardpoint. The final score was 250-45. Search and Destroy wasn't very different, neither was Control. LG cruised to the easy 3-0 victory to remain undefeated at the top of the NA leaderboard. The Rejects didn't have week 2 as easy as LG. They found themselves against the last member of the Big 3 in North America, Team Mayhem, and remember, Mayhem seemed to totally have the Rejects' number at the challenge finals in Seattle 1 year back. On hardpoint, the Rejects found themselves behind late in the game, 202 to 166. They stayed focused on the rotations and completed the comeback, keeping their opposition to just 222 and winning with 250. They carried this momentum into S&D and took a commanding lead in the series up 2-0 and forced Mayhem into a must-win on Control. Mayhem looked better on control, but ultimately just couldn't overcome the Rejects, who were on a mission of vengeance. The Rejects took a very impressive 3-0 win in the series and put the rest of the league on notice. Mayhem are off to a disappointing start, falling into a 1-2 hole, while LG and the Rejects continue to look incredible. They're heading on a collision course for each other, and their matchup on week 4 will probably determine who gets #1 seed going into the Challenge Finals. For now, though, let's move our attention to the newest region to join the fray, Latin America. In the first match of the season, longtime powerhouse Inco Gaming took on Ancient. It was a thrilling match, which may come to a surprise to Inco, who is one of the LATAM teams who qualified for Worlds. Tied at 2:06 in the very late game on Hardpoint, Ancient showed that they were not too intimidated by big-name Inco, rattling off 33 unanswered points, putting themselves way too ahead of Inco to come back in this game and putting themselves ahead in the series 1-0. From there, the series was a vicious back and forth until the teams came to the pivotal Game 5 Search and Destroy. This S&D was just like the rest of the series, incredibly close as the teams found themselves tied 3-3. This is when Inco's vast experience really kicked in, though, and they showed how to play under pressure. Inco rattled off 4 straight to take the game and the series. Still all very early in the season for LATAM, so we'll keep an eye on their standings, but everything's going to continue to develop. For now, let's shift our focus to our third and final region, Europe. Here's a quick reminder of where the standings were at week 1. Big Boys Exclusive and Kings both undefeated. What did week 2 bring? The same thing. PBE took on Xantium, who hasn't managed to win a single series this season, and cruised to an easy 3-0. Xantium never really managed to challenge Exclusive in spite of their best efforts. All 3 game modes were clean and dominant. On night 4, Kings took on a completely defeated team of their own, Nexus. Just like Exclusive did versus Xantium, this series was never really close. The Kings held their opponents to just 158 points on Hardpoint, took a solid 7-4 on Search, and then just completely locked down control. Exclusive and Kings are both miles ahead of the rest of the league, and guess what? They're on a collision course right for each other. The match of the season, Kings versus Big Boys Exclusive, is coming up next week right here on our channel. Last Challenge Finals, Kings did get the better of Exclusive, so Exclusive now eager to show the improvements they've made in the offseason. It's guaranteed to be an incredible match. All 3 regions are starting to get deep into their seasons, so make sure to catch all the action. But if you can't, I'm here with the recap. Catch you next week.
Okay, now that you know what's going on in all of the regions, we'll continue our discussion. But don't forget, the whole reason that that's all happening is because everyone is trying to claim their spot through to Mobile Masters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's where everybody's trying to push their way through. NA specifically will have 2 that get to make their way through, whereas some of the other regions only have 1 coveted spot for that tournament. So it's tough. It's going to be a back and forth battle between a lot of those teams in other regions. So if you want to check those out, make sure you do that as well. And then you won't miss anything that's going on in all of Call of Duty Mobile for our challenge seasons. But now that you understand the lay of the land as far as the recap goes for all of the regions, let's focus back in on NA, because one of the things we didn't get to see last week was obviously our off-stream matches. We have to mention those because there were some interesting results, to say the least here, Bobby, in some of these matches.
Yeah, I think for the most part it was fairly expected. Obviously, Mayhem dominant up against Sane, and then you got LG, who just put the absolute work to Goofy Goovers. They put a combined 24 points through the entirety of the match. But then we got down to Sane versus Disciples, and we actually had one of our only Game 5s that we've seen in any of the regions so far. Obviously, pretty close on most of the maps with the exception of that takeoff and coming down to the wire. Disciples do maintain one of those top spots with their win over Sane.
All right. Well, now that you guys know literally everything getting into today, we'll take a look finally at our leaderboard. And this is actually important, not only because then you guys will understand where all these teams currently sit in terms of their standing and what's important for them to get finish-wise heading into our last and final week, which teams are likely to get into the top 4 for our challenge season finals. But this leaderboard is important because there's going to be a different name that you see here sitting at the top of it, 5-0. Now, I know that's typically Luminosity, but Luminosity is no longer under that LG banner. They will now be going by Seminole throughout the rest of the season, something we're all going to have to adjust to here. But regardless, same team, same ability, same undefeated 5-0, Brody.
Yeah, for sure. Just like with what Rejects and Tribe, we're going to slip up at some point for sure. But yeah, 5-0 right now. It should be worth saying that they were 4-0 coming into this week. I think they've already got the win versus Sane from today's matches, so that's why they're currently 5-0. But even more interestingly, they haven't even lost a single map yet. So they're flawless in map. Technically speaking, if you count the 3 versus Sane, they're like, I want to say 15-0 now in maps.
Dang.
When are they going to lose one? I mean, this Seminole squad is insane. And I think part of it is, as we'll discuss in a little bit, is just the fact that they want improvements from what happened at Champs. You know, they do not want what happened at Champs to happen again. They are taking this seriously.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Rejects are also undefeated on map count, if I'm not mistaken, because they 3-0'd Mayhem. So it very well, depending on how the matchup up against Truly goes today, it could be like the ultimate crash course for who's going to lose the map first whenever we do have that matchup in the final week. But definitely setting up for some really good matches. Obviously, sad to see LG go. You want to see these guys getting supported by those organizations. So we'll see if they have a different destination in mind or if they're just riding solo for the time being. But obviously, they're going to continue to put in the work regardless.
And you know, we're mentioning the top of the leaderboard a lot as well, but we will be keeping our focus around that bubble spot that you saw on the leaderboard as kind of that secondary storyline. Only 4 teams can make their way through to the challenge finals, and right now we've got Truly and Mayhem in that 4th and 5th spot. They're very, very close, and there's still enough matches to come that those standings can change based off of their performance. One of those being here later on today that we'll talk about in just a little bit. For the first match of the day, it's going to be a really important one for both of those teams. So like we said, there's still lots of storyline things that we have to follow all day today. Before we get into our matches, though, I'm very excited because we have Hippo standing by of Seminole, and I'm gonna remember to do this every single time. Hippo, welcome. Oh my God, and we have a pet. This is exciting. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am even better now that you have your pet with you and we need a full-on introduction.
This is Lupin. He is a 3-year-old baby here. And he's our team mascot.
Okay, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. All right, let's dive into it. Obviously, we had to talk about it on the show. The name change now, Seminole, no longer LG. So talk to us a little bit about the banner change, and if you have any, like, I don't know, secret intel on maybe a different org or something like that, you just let us know.
I think overall, we parted ways with Luminosity on good terms with them, and as we really just appreciate them for all the support that they've given us throughout the past year when we first joined them in 2022 for Stage 5, and I think we've done a great job representing them, and they've done a great job supporting us and also bringing a fan base to COD Mobile Esports. So we really appreciate everything that they've done for us, and we wish them the best moving forward. And for us, we're also actively looking out for a new home, and we have some conversations going, so who knows, we'll see another change in the banner hopefully soon enough.
I love that. I love that.
A little bit of a tasty treat for us here. A little morsel of information. We love to see it. But look, mate, so far here in the Snapdragon Pro Series, you guys are flawless in maps after today's win versus Sane, which you guys have gotten for free. That's 5-0 for you guys now, 15-0 in maps. It feels like, at least, as I said in the pre-show, you guys are definitively now taking this very, very seriously. You don't want what happened at Champs to happen again. You've got Brazil ahead of you. Is this all part of the package, right? You guys are making those improvements ahead of Masters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was, I think, a huge shockwave that came. Recently, a fellow coach and friend of mine named Flower, shout outs to him, made a post talking about how the West was the dominant, side of the world in 2022. But then in 2023, it just completely flipped on its head. The East kind of came in. And I think that was a huge wake up call for not just us, but teams like Rejects now. And so right now, we're right now looking at it thinking, okay, we got to really step up our game. We got to show the world what we're really made of, because everybody thought we were the best team coming in. And I don't think that there's any, cast of doubt in my mind, despite what happened at Worlds this past year, that we are actually, we have the ability to show that we are the best in the world, and we still are. So it's our time to step it up now.
Awesome.
All right. Obviously, one of the big talking points was kind of the difference in the play style between the East and West. And I think particularly how strong the East was when it came to search and destroy. That definitely seemed to be a weak point for a lot of the Western teams. What are you guys doing to improve specifically there? Are there particular regions that you're studying more whenever it comes to the search and destroy? And how do you guys feel about that mode specifically? Obviously, not necessarily heading into Masters yet, but taking that practice into playoffs here as well.
I think at the end of the day, what we have to think about when it comes to improvement is just thinking about the long term. Our goal isn't necessarily just thinking about whether we're going to improve in times for Masters, but also in the long term about improving in time for the next World Championships. And in doing so, we have been studying about how the other teams tend to play, in particular the Chinese region, which has shown to be the dominant region when it comes to search and destroy by and far. And so for us, we're studying how they think, we're studying how they play, but at the same time, we're trying to incorporate that into our own identity and our own unique way in terms of how we want to play. They do say, there's the saying of, if you can't beat them, join them. But I think for us, it's not a matter of just joining, but it's a matter of taking it and actually running with it, into creating something new and evolving past that.
All right, I love it.
I love it too. I've got a totally not serious question for you.
Please.
Can we expect in upcoming tournaments more of the drip that we saw? Because you were so flawlessly coordinated with the squad at World Champs last time.
I think as we find a new home, or regardless of whether we do or not, I'm going to always have something prepared. That's part of my identity. So that's my suit of armor, going into battle. So that's the least I can do to, go up on the stage and be there with the boys proudly.
I love that. I love that. I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you guys in more stages of the competition. You've been so strong here so far. Before I let you go, do you have any shout outs that you want to do for anyone?
Quick shout outs to all of you guys that are casting and also at the desk. You guys have been doing an excellent job, and the rest of the production team and everybody over at EFG. And also to, of course, my boys and to all our opponents out there. Unfortunately, we've had some forfeits. We didn't want to win like that, but, we wish those teams the best of luck for the rest of their Masters journey. And to, our upcoming opponents, in particular Rejects, who have a lot of familiar faces, including our own beloved Envy. Let's see you guys get 3-0 next week.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, Hippo, it's always such a pleasure to speak with you. You're a gem. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
All right. He is one of the most well-spoken people we ever get on this show. I'm not trying to play favorites, but I also do really enjoy talking to him. And we got like a kernel of potential info, like they might end up in a new home.
Based on the way that he phrased everything, I would say probably like a 99.
Right? Exactly.
They already have one. He's like, if we find one, it's like, okay, so you guys definitely do have one. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, especially for a team of that caliber, even if it's not like a North American native organization.
Sure.
Like, they're going to find somebody, because that's a team that regardless of if they have a good day or a bad day, they're going to make it at least to playoffs in Sao Paulo. Like, there's no doubt in my mind regarding that. So it would be kind of foolish for nobody to keep eyes on them and at least keep tabs on it.
I feel you just got potential to have, the effort that LG are now, or Seminole, oh my God, I did it already, guys. The effort that Seminole are now putting in, I feel like you have the potential and really the probability to have the #1 team in the world on site. Why would you not sign that team here in COD Mobile? It's easy pickings for any organization out there.
Absolutely. And we obviously wish them the best of luck in that entire journey. But now it's time for us to turn our focus to today, what we've got going on with our matches. First one out out the gate. Very, very important. We mentioned it earlier. It's between Truly and Team Mayhem, our 4th and 5th place teams on the bubble, both trying to make their way through to Challenge Finals. This is going to be a fun way to start it, Brody.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Again, just like in Europe, where we've got kind of the omniscient storyline against the top dogs over there, here in North America, it is Truly that I think will be the challengers, as it were, against that big three that we've consistently talked about over the last few weeks. And this Truly squad, I mean, they really do have it all. I think they are a very, very good, very good team. I tried to say well together, and well put together squad. They've got a lot of talent on side, and I think when it comes down to it, it's just going to be about the execution against some of these big boy teams. And I honestly think Mayhem is a good team to start with, because we've seen what Mayhem have been like this season so far, and they've not been a bad team by any means, but it does feel like they've been a step below Rejects and Seminole. So I feel like Mayhem is a good start for Truly to take on.
All right, we'll start pulling up those rosters, and then Bobby, you can get your point here in as we see not only those rosters, but we should have some highlights for you guys to talk over as well while you continue giving me your thoughts on this matchup.
Yeah, I think if you look at the head-to-head between the teams, the way they played up against LG, they had very similar score lines in just about every single game mode. Obviously, going against those bottom 4, both teams are naturally going to dominate. And across the board, there's varying levels of experience, but pretty comparable. I think especially now that Codeine is in the roster for this Truly squad. He put up some crazy numbers in their matchup last week. And I think with him in there, they have the potential to be able to take down Mayhem, as Brody said. I would say they've been underperforming relative to expectations, not only in this challenge season, but in Stage 5 as well. So they've absolutely got something to prove. S&D used to be their strong suit and has not looked particularly good this season. So we'll see if they can shake things up a little bit and start to regain. But they're definitely going to need to do it, because I don't think there's realistically a chance where they don't make playoffs, but you definitely don't want to be heading into it in that 4th seed.
And part of that also, we kind of saw an example of what you're saying here, Bobby, when it comes to Team Mayhem struggling with that S&D when we looked at back at last week's off-stream matches in their matchup up against Sane, right, Brody? That went to 8-6 for Mayhem, and arguably it should have been a little bit of an easier road. Yeah, for sure. I think, probably to be honest, the most telling thing about Mayhem, even beyond that in Search and Destroy, was actually the 7-2 loss that they had versus Rejects. Yep. I think previously when we talked about Mayhem versus Rejects back when they were Tribe, it was actually a very close game all the time. We went pretty far into the distance, but that Search and Destroy was not close at all. I mean, the 2 rounds that they got were down to individual plays. It should really have been a 7-0, to be honest, to Rejects. Mayhem have been struggling in Search and Destroy by far. One thing I will say is I believe they did push Luminosity to overtime in their Search and Destroy, but part of that, I think, was because I think there was like a lull in the middle of the S&D where Luminosity just were giving up rounds for free really sillily. Is that a word? I don't know. It is now.
It is now. It was a bit of a silly mistake, I think, to give up the rounds that they did. So I don't really know if that's Mayhem or if that's Seminole that kind of the reason that they happened. But yeah, Mayhem and Search and Destroy, that is the one thing I think that they I think consciously know they need to get right now.
Well, we've got a little bit of their history as well here in concrete number form. You can see their records so far, who they played against, how they won or lost those matches. Bobby, which ones are jumping out at you?
I mean, obviously the big difference here is, are you playing a top 4 team or are you not playing a top 4 team? That's what we're effectively seeing. Obviously, Mayhem, probably the toughest start to the season out of any of our top 4s, having to go up against LG and Rejects, having to go up against Seminole and Rejects
to
get things started. So they've had a tough road. I think the main concerning part of it is that they weren't terribly close in either of those matchups. So the big question is going to be, can they close the gap that is started to form between them and the top of the top?
I'm excited to see how this one goes. It's going to be super, super important. Not only that, but once we start getting those picks and bans coming through, I think that the map vetoes will give us a little bit more information as well in regards to who did their homework this past week, who was able to do a good job in that portion of their matchup, because like you've said a few times now, Brody, Truly has proved that they can continue to be that dominant fourth place team there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, their only loss has been to LG.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like, oh, Seminole. They were LG when they won. Okay, I don't care. Their only loss has been to Seminole. And that was a dominant win for Seminole. It wasn't a surprise for that whatsoever. But against the other teams, truly have been by far and away significantly better. I think, what was it? It was Goofy Goobers and Forsaken. I don't know what other team they played. It was Goofy Goobers that they played. I think it was a 3-0, really simple for them. They are, I think, just very obviously much, much better than the rest of the competition. So now I think it's really going to be a test. I think this is going to be the test for Truly. If they can beat Mayhem, how much further can they go, right?
And then on the flip side of that, though, I mean, yeah, we're harping on Mayhem a little bit, but they're a team that's gone up against the best of the best quite a few times. They've got experience up against the Seminoles, up against the rejects of the world. They know how both of these teams are playing. So if they are not even able to get those wins against them, but they still are taking away a lot from those matches that they could potentially turn around and then apply to the likes of Truly.
Yeah, I think that Mayhem right now, it almost feels like they're in a bit of an identity crisis because they're not really sure what they don't have like a go-to game mode. They don't have like a specific dominant player. And it feels like everything's up in the air, even though they've kind of been running with the same roster for the entirety of the season. So I'm interested to see what it looks like when they solidify. But you got to keep in mind that was the exact same scenario for Simplicity last season. They were right around the bottom of those top 4 and kind of battling it out all the way up until the last week as to whether or not they were even going to make playoffs. And then all of a sudden they lock things in heading into playoffs, and they suddenly can't lose a map up against Tribe, who had completely dominated them in their earlier matchup. So we know they can make those improvements. Main thing is you don't have nearly as much time as you did last challenge season.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I will say as well in regard to Mayhem is the matches against LG and Rejects, for the most part, it was only small things that made them lose, especially in that 3-0 versus Rejects that we saw, right? I mean, they were leading in the hard point. They only, I think it was the P4, right, that they messed up on Arsenal. They gave basically a full 60 away. They were leading in that, the search and destroy. We don't need to talk about the search and destroy. And the control, I mean, it was the big mess up they had on round number 1, if I remember correctly, where they just gave away a point when they had a 7 or 8 life advantage over the opponents, and they were literally down to the last 5 lives. Small mistakes like that, you fix those and you are right back into the talking points here. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. And we're going to see very soon, too, because now I believe those picks and bans are ready to go. So we'll start getting them to come through here so we can see what the choices have been made. Starting off on Arsenal here, Bobby.
I mean, I feel like for that one, you've got to feel pretty good for Mayhem, given how strong they looked up against Rejects the first time around. So I definitely like the Arsenal pick, and Takeoff maybe a little bit of a toss-up, given that they both pretty much got smoked by Luminosity on that map.
Yeah, I will say, I think they've won, Truly have won another takeoff somewhere else as well. They're currently 1-1 in that game mode on that. So that's actually a pretty good pick for Truly. It's just whether or not they can get past the Arsenal and whatever the search and destroy and the control actually look like to get to that takeoff. We'll see whether or not they actually end up doing so. But that Arsenal, I think, is actually a really, really good pick for Mayhem. It is probably one of the strongest hardpoint maps that they have. The Meltdown is a bit of a curveball. I didn't expect that in this best of 5.
Yeah, that was one that I figured would probably slip out, especially given that that's the one that they played closely up against LG, Mayhem did. Obviously, we don't have nearly as big of a sample size to pull from for Truly. For Mayhem, we can go back to stage 5. We can go back to stage 4 from last year. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to break down how that's going to look. But also Mayhem have had a good share of struggles on firing range. Maybe not necessarily struggles, but definitely inconsistencies in the way that they've played the map. So I've got a feeling the takeoff and the firing range probably looking the direction of Truly, at least as far as map picks go. And then coming down to the last one. It is going to be Raid, and that is not one that we've seen a whole lot from Mayhem.
Yeah, well, last season it was their best map. It was over 4-2 in it last season. It was, I think, the only map that they were actually positive and control on. So that is big for them. I don't think much have changed since season 3.
Why'd you sound so disappointed, Brody?
I'm not disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was more of an expectation. It was like, yeah, I kind of expected this to be the pick from both of these teams, just because they are both so strong at it. Like I said, you know, last season, Mayhem were very good at this, and this season, this is the only map I think that Truly have actually played in control. So positives and negatives there. Obviously, it means that they're pretty well seasoned on it. The negatives mean, I think, that Mayhem are the kind of roster to be watching that VOD and knowing exactly what truly are going to do here on Raid. So,
right. Well, it's going to be a great match, okay? So for now, I'm going to send you two over for the first time today to get week 3 started, and let's make this one fun.
I am sure that it will be. You know, I'm not going to jinx anything. I'm not going to jinx anything.
I'm not. It doesn't need to be said, Bobby. Okay, mate?
This will be a game. This will be a match. Games will be played. There will be a winner. Nobody knows how many games there will be.
Thank you. I like that. Like, we've learned, I think, over the course of this season, and to be fair, over the course of our careers, not to cast a curse when we don't need to do it. And given how many times
I have
that's
not
happened,
learned that, but for your sake, I won't do it.
Okay, yeah. I think it's happened a couple of times significantly this season thus far. So, yeah, not happening today. But this would still be a pretty good one here. Again, a reminder, folks, that this is a really important matchup for Truly because, as we've said, Mayhem had not had a good go of things this season thus far. They lost to LG and they lost to Rejects. And that means that they are probably the easiest target of the big 3 right now for Truly. They're weak, they've been wounded. Can Truly come in for the kill?
That's the question. And they've definitely shown that improvement. The question of whether or not coding was going to be the difference maker definitely looked that way. Obviously, last week was up against a substantially easier opponent, but the numbers he was putting up against Goofy Goovers were pretty impressive regardless of what the competition was. So I know that he's a player that can come in and make an impact even if he hasn't been on any of the top tier rosters in the past couple of months. Definitely a game changer type of player, and we'll see if he can have an impact as they get ready to head into the Arsenal. Obviously, Mayhem looking for redemption after their match against Rejects.
Surely they don't do it again. Surely they don't give up an entire hard point.
Telling me not to cast her curse, and now you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. Look, it won't happen again though. I'm gonna commit to it here. I just don't see that happening. I think, you know, again, Rejects are a very different team to Truly. I don't know if they'll even be in a position to let that happen again this time around. And fundamentally speaking, I mean, Mayhem did most things right, 9 out of 10 things right on that very first Arsenal hardpoint that we referenced in between them and Rejects. So, yeah, I think this should be smooth sailing in this series. To be honest with you, I think it's a really important map for Mayhem, though, because we've discussed in the past maybe the weaknesses in Search and Destroy. Historically speaking, I believe that it's hardpoint that's been their game mode of the 3. So I think Search and Destroy, we're not necessarily expecting Mayhem to win per se. That might be where Truly come into the series. This hardpoint, therefore, I think is actually pretty important for Mayhem.
Yeah, I would 100% agree on that one. And once again, they have not played Raid at all this season. I'm assuming that's because teams banded against them because they're good at it.
Yeah.
It's not a concept that we've really seen play out in EU. But obviously the NA teams getting things figured out for what to expect going up against Mayhem. But Truly, like you said, feel very confident. They took LG down to the wire all the way to round 5 playing on that very same map. So I'm expecting map number 3 to absolutely be a banger, but I think across the series should be pretty competitive between these two.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you were talking about players to watch, and you mentioned Codeine joining this Truly roster in the last couple of weeks. That's actually something we've seen, by the way, over in Europe as well. We've seen teams kind of evolve their rosters over time, bringing in their subs when they feel like it's necessary. I think, what was it, Big over in Europe that did that recently, and they were really successful for it, although it might feel a little bit too late for them at this point in time. But it's not too late for Truly. They've made the decision at the right time. They've still got their most important matches ahead of them, and making that improvement, bringing Codeine on the roster, an already pretty strong roster at that, I think it's going to be really important for them here. And I think probably the most important component for me on this roster is that duo ship of Forsaken and Space. Bringing those players back together again this season, it's been really fun to see them play well. Forsaken has been playing out of his damn mind every single match. I think he's got like a 1.6 KD overall or something at the moment. And Space has just been a great addition to the roster as well. So I'm really enjoying kind of the composition of the roster at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously talking to Space, he said, you know, this is pretty much a pickup roster. For those of you who are wondering, Wet Noodle is Codeine. We did confirm that over the weekend, so I just wanted to go ahead, get ahead of that one right there. But heading on into this one, Team Mayhem looking to prove something. Gonna be chaos on the way into P1 right here. It's going to be Cartels making a wrap up toward that window side, trying to maintain some map control. It's Raph finding first blood.
Yeah, and we were talking about the composition of, oh my goodness me, Raph right off the start. Not using the R9 this time, going to come out with the Fennec off the start of this. And yeah, we were talking about the composition of Mayhem. We were kind of discussing it behind the scenes, what set of players we were expecting to see today. We knew that Jesus Saves to be playing, but Kings is also playing as well. So is this like the third or fourth unique different set of players they've had here this season? I feel like they're still kind of figuring things out. And to be fair, this is not going to be the toughest match that they will play this season, but still, truly, going to be a tough cookie to crack. We'll see how they get on here in this one. Right off the start, though, Jesus Saves the Team Mayhem, already finding a couple of kills in the middle of the map. Going to get shut down by Forsaken. Little pinch play coming through from a couple of players from Truda. They want to get the last bit of scrap time, but Kings won't let it happen.
Definitely notable as Blur is taking out of the starting lineup for this Mayhem roster. Definitely the highest KD player, and I would say search and destroy wise, probably their strongest player in that mode as well. But trying out something new to see if maybe a change of pace, a change of scenery can make something happen. King's gonna find two with the nade up top. Two players down below, locking in hardpoint time right here. Cartels gonna be able to shut one down, reads the spawns right there. Forsaken on the top side is gonna be able to take one for himself, but streaks have already been earned for Raph. Once again, the gunny's not going great on the top side, but those players on the objective have held things down for the first 20 seconds. Truly, finally finding their way into the hard point to find their first chunk of time.
And now truly know where Mayhem should be spawning here at the very least, if they've got their game knowledge up to a T here. Smokes, though, going to allow perhaps Mayhem in towards the hard point. Raph and King's going to combine for a couple of kills, and now it is just up to Yawn and one other inside the hill. Yawn's going to go down, so now it is just Space looking for a push-in from behind. For the back 15 seconds, the spawns will flip out here due to an early rotation coming through from Mayhem. So this is actually a pretty good spot from Mayhem. They managed to take a ton of time away from Truly off the back of that hard point, and of course, they've got the all-important rotation from P2 to P3 in hand.
Cartel's going to lock down those bottom spawns. Raph cuts off one on rotation. And that'll leave Truly spawning across the map. They're looking to hit the flank right here, see if they can flip these out. King's trying to lock down the front side, gets the info onto Yawn right there, works the heady, and now Cartels continues to push back through, but Hax has made the wrap right here. And they've got two players in position to take Cartels down, but they're investing a lot of time to do it. Nice shots right there. Teabag makes the read as Cartels does get taken down, but this is a perfect play. That's going to be Truly flipping out the spawns right there, and that puts Mayhem in a tough spot.
Yeah, the thing is, the one player that I would have been concerned about if I was Truly there that was sitting in a corner being real sneaky-like was Cartels, and they shut him down. That was the biggest kill of the lot, really, because it enabled Truly to find their way through towards the hard point. But a couple of rogue spawns do come through from Team Mayhem here, so they've got a shot at getting control of the hard point once more. Raph is going to give this one last look, runs out of bullets inside the Fennec, switches over to the pistol for the second kill, and does actually find one, but yet still finds himself overwhelmed. So all things will be relatively even here. Team Mayhem just about in the lead as we go into the next hill. But this is where we're going to start to see some of the investment of the operators. Team Mayhem, they've got 4 inside, and that streak earlier earned by Raph.
Jesus has got to win those window gunfights, but he's not going to be able to. It's all on to Cartels to try to cut off that push, and they can't do it. It is all blue in the feed right here. Team Mayhem fall apart at the seams. They're going to invest some operators right here. Raph, equalizer, not finding a whole lot of value. He gets shut down immediately. 2 for Codeine right there. Once again, it is all blue in the feed. And they get those driveway side spawns right here. Is now Truly completely in control on this hard point. Team Mayhem scrambling for some semblance of map control. They've got 4 operators if they want to use them, but it looks like they're trying to set up for a big time P4.
That's a big risk to make as well, because obviously what happened last time from Mayhem, they gave away a ton of time to their opposition and rejects, and it was their undoing. They cannot let the same thing happen again, and they are fighting for it. You've got 3 players on side, one from Truly inside the window. That was going to be Codeine, who does get shut down. So the rest of the time should theoretically be Mayhem's here, but look at the Truly players across the map at the moment. All of them are completely splintered from one another. Truly do technically have control of the rotation. Bit of an advanced positioning coming out from Hax there, who does get shut down, but that's okay because he will spawn in on the new hard point. Right now, Bobby, just 6 points separate these teams, and we still haven't seen much of these operators just yet. I've got a feeling it's going to happen now, and Kings has the Annihilator.
You know, we've got some cheeky battles in the vents. Yawn's going to be able to take down Raph right there. Some of those operators coming out once again. Kings, Annihilator, and we got Cartels with the Claw. No value found. Teabag, War Machine. What can he do with it? They know one player at least has made their way up into that back corner. and he will be able to read at least one more, but traded out immediately. It's Coding once again, and he's already got 20 kills to his name. No question, a crucial addition for this Truly roster. Back and forth on the inside of P5 right now.
Yeah, for sure. And those back spawns, of course, Truly will know that that's where Mayhem are coming from every single time. The numbers definitely in favor of Truly as Mayhem just continue the fall. Jesus saves, able to somehow find his way towards the hard point. How on earth has that happened? Fortunately enough, Forsaken is there to find a double back and give control to Truly once more. Rafno wants to have the final say again. Those back spawns for Mayhem means that he will not be alone. Kings will be in, but numbers, once again, going in favor of Truly. And this has been an incredibly close game thus far. Again, as we get into the next hill, the next set of hills, it will be 4 points, the difference between these two teams. And honestly, Bobby, I feel like some of the operators here haven't been best utilized from either of these squads. These guys have been really good at shutting them down.
Yeah, we've seen so many either 1 or 0 kill operators, and there's another one right there. Space immediately taken out off of his claw. Team Mayhem didn't have any map control a second ago, but have found a way to break on into the hard point. It's immediately taken back by Truly, and you can always expect P1 to be pure chaos all the way through. That's going to be Cody and finding a couple, but right back is Jesus. And my gosh, I don't think we've seen either team get more than 2 seconds at a time on this hard point so far.
Yeah, this is how P1 is supposed to be, by the way. Very chaotic as long as teams are playing their lives correctly, and it feels like both squads are at this point in time. But this is a bit of a disastrous position for Truly to be in. You can tell the spawns that they just got over towards P3, they're going to have to take the long route in from behind, as well as having a couple of players at least make their way up towards those P4 AA guns side. That seems to deplete the players. Now starting to encroach on the back line. You can see Yorn taking at least that trade, but now the spawns could potentially be through. They're coming in with parallels here, so Mayhem are still getting a couple of players to spawn in the back line. Truly are as well. The fight might be on for this big rotation.
Only one player in the hard point. Kings has got to do everything right there, but it's all yellow in the feed. That should allow the reinforcements to arrive and an opportunity for Mayhem to lock down some top side control. Jesus flies on through. He's been slaying on the objective. Over 140 seconds for him so far, but there's Codeine making big time plays for Truly once again. They take the hard point back. Team Mayhem, they get that top side control. The question is, how much do you want to invest right here? Not a whole lot of time to be gained out of this one. Maybe one more push before you hit the rotation.
Yeah, for sure. Truly looking for the last 20 seconds here as Codeine and Space combined for 3. That should be their time. And I was going to say, Bobby, that I feel like Truly here don't want to over-invest into this one. They want to get like 1 or 2 players, maybe in on the scrap time. The rest, send them towards New, because Mayhem are once again going to be the first team to touch on this next hill. We saw what happened last time around. Mayhem, they had a couple of players around the back lane. Truly, it took about 15 to 20 seconds for them to find their way through. This time, they're not even going to get a look because Jesus saves come through like Lara Croft with the bow and arrow, takes 3 down, and that's going to be not the best start Truly on this hit.
Oh, and they don't even have to deal with Raph yet. Jesus is still picking up kills with the Sparrow. They're not going to find anything in regards to spawning out those Mayhem players. And Team Mayhem have played a perfect P3 so far. Cartel's finally finding some value off of that claw, but does get shut down. Once again, well-positioned is this Truly squad. And with Hacks pushing on through right there, they've got the ability to apply some pressure through mid. Question is, can they win the gunfights? And yes, they can, but the spawns are still close for Team Mayhem. Going to be able to reinforce right here and should be able to use those headies to take off remaining players. I don't know how he got up there, but Space does eventually get sniffed out, and the scrap should be there for Mayhem.
I feel like this has been the most convincing hill from either of these two teams so far. It's been about a 50-point advantage now for Mayhem as we go towards the next one. An incredible hill and an incredible use of the operators coming out for the very first time from either of these two teams. Jesus saves with 5 with the Sparrow. Might well just win this game as we get towards the back half. Now Truly have 5 in the back pocket. You want to start using them. You know exactly where Mayhem are going to be spawning from. Haxis is going to be the first to bring his out, and he's just going to be firing that Purifier down range, but the nade is going to take him down. Fortunately enough here, the rest of the squad are still here, but now Team Mayhem starting to apply the pressure. One rogue spawn coming out for Forsaken. He gets read by Teabag. Nicely done. Mayhem now in the kill.
All of the operators come out for Truly, and I don't think we saw any of them get more than 1 kill. Pred drops from Jesus, and he's going to be able to take out 2, and just like that, Mayhem have taken back the hard point, but this is another one that you can expect to be contested all the way through. Cartel's not having his best season, but stepping up in the big moments right here for Team Mayhem. Got a decent number of kills. One player from Mayhem takes himself down. I'm assuming that's probably another operator right there. Truly with an opportunity to pick up scraps, but Mayhem a nice setup toward P5.
A couple of rogue spawns coming through from Mayhem. So they'll be out of the action and over towards P5 for the moment here. Truly, now on their way. They've got the numbers. They just need to check the corners on their way in. T-Bag from up top is going to take one down. Now it's time for Coding to utilize the equalizers, and he doesn't get anything once again. That is a huge shutdown coming out from Mayhem. And now Truly looking to try and crack this egg that is the hard point. They have to hit at the same time.
They've got to make a big push right here. Lots of angles that they can pinch from. 2 players on the inside. One gets taken down right here. No, none get taken down. Team Mayhem win all of the gunfights, and they've got the opportunity to win it here. Cartel has the claw. That should be able to do a chunk of damage, but he doesn't find any value. This could be the opening for Truly, but they've got to take it now.
Yeah, they've got the kills. There we go. Truly now going to be in, but this has to be perfect from here on out. And here comes Jesus Saves. Once again, wants to blow things wide open, but can't get it done. It's 3 kills once again for Truly, but Team Mayhem trying to take this methodically. Cartels comes in through the window, and players trying to rip those spawns asunder from Truly, but none of it seems to be working. Every single kill that Truly want, they seem to be getting, but look towards the rotation. Mayhem have Truly right where they want them.
And we've seen Mayhem struggle to close out this map, but with the setup that they've got toward P1, there's one player there that should be uncontested for the time being. One player can hop through window. It's going to be Cody, and he's been big for them so far. One player on the pinch can't find the kill. Team Mayhem have the positioning. They've got the players. One coming through vents with the opportunity to play spoiler, but Hex gets shut down, and Team Mayhem take map 1.
Team Mayhem taking it by about 50 points or so. And where did they get those 50 points, Bobby? Well, it was that P3 rotation in which Jesus Saves whipped out the Sparrow, picked up 5 different kills with it. Great operator utilization coming out from him. And that really was, I think, the tail of tape for that game. For basically the entirety of the first set of the rotations, every time we saw an operator come out, it wouldn't really get more than 2 kills. And the effectiveness was relatively low, even when we saw a concerted effort from Team Mayhem to make it happen on P5. When we got to the second set, though, that was a massive hold. Really the only convincing hold that we saw the entirety of the game from Mayhem, and it made all the difference.
Absolutely. And I think especially on that rotation, you get Raph tucked away in a corner, but he didn't even have to give his location away because Jesus was picking up all of those kills. So he stays tucked away right there. Even when Jesus runs out of the Sparrow, he can find a couple more, and he's able to prevent any easy flank right there as they try to flip out the spawns. Beautifully played by Mayhem, and they take map 1 in a big-time series for them.
Yeah, and I think there was a more devastating moment as well, pretty much following that P3 as we made the rotation over towards P4, because if there was an opportunity for Mayhem to get a full 60 with the Sparrow that we saw from Jesus Saves, well, there would be an opportunity surely for Truly to do the same thing on P4 like what was done to Mayhem in that previous matchup versus Rejects. There's that big play with the Sparrow, but it just didn't happen. When we expected kind of those big plays to come out from Truly, they didn't find anything with any of the operators. There were split spawns coming through from Mayhem, and while they might well have read them, they just got outgunned and outplayed and did not get the time when it was required of them. I'll give them props, Bobby, because for the entirety of the first half of the game, they were hyper competitive, and towards the end as well, they managed to hang on and get the kills when required. But again, your backs are against the wall. You need 8 points if you're Team Mayhem. Mayhem had the leader's advantage, the opportunity to get the rotation in hand, and when you have full control of P1, when you have control of those kind of really small areas where teams have to push through, it's very difficult to break back in. So big win coming out from Mayhem in map number 1.
You look at the kill count, and honestly, very, very tight. I think, if anything, it might be separated by 2 or 3 kills, but the hard point play, and I think the timing of the kills that they found was so much better for Mayhem, and obviously Kings had not been in the rotation for them. Top frags, most hard point time. This is a guy that it looks like they definitely want to have in the game, especially when it comes to hard points. So he has a big return performance right there, but across the board, fantastic consistency for the whole squad.
Yeah, again, that's going to be a conversation point, I think, throughout. And I would really love to know kind of what the look is for Mayhem on the whole with their roster, because not having Blur on side, when we've already discussed it as Blur is probably their best player, to be honest, was a huge risk, and I think is still a huge risk for the remainder of this series. What does their starting lineup look like? Because surely you don't just bench Blur. That can't be the case, not after how he's played this season so far, but Kings is also very good. Jesus Saves still feels like he's got it, even though I think kind of the conversation point before we got into of the season was that maybe Jesus Saves would be that bench player. Who do you bench? Because you've got 6 really good players on side.
Yeah, I think it's a tough decision that a lot of it is just going to come down to chemistry, because one thing that we talked about last week in their matchup up against Rejects is Blur, his KD was solid, but he was not finding enough engagement. So it was a situation where the numbers look good from a numbers perspective, but in regards to the impact that he's having the hard point, maybe that's not necessarily what the team needs. And obviously we see it right there. They didn't necessarily have a big kill advantage in that one, but they were able to take the map still, just based on the way they're playing the hard point. So we'll see if they're able to continue that success here on Meltdown. This is a map that they have looked strong on in the past, but I believe truly going down to the wire, or no, this was Mayhem going down to the wire against LG on this map. So definitely one that they would feel confident in, but once again, Blur taken out of the equation. I think S&D is going to be the mode where they miss him most.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Teabag is currently taking up the mantle of the sniper rifle for the moment. He's starting off pretty well, already finds that first kill. A couple of players down here for Truly. It's going to be very difficult to retake when you don't have the numbers. But look an eye on the weaponry. 2 snipers here, Forsaken and Space, and the R9 for Codeine. I feel like that's probably going to be the thing, if anything, that breaks this entire play. But Raf is the R9 master, as the weapon would suggest. And as soon as anybody enters here through this one line of sight, Raf should have him dead to rights. It's going to be Codeine for the Chow. And, well, the R9 battle is won by Raf, but Space, the only one on the other side to find any kills here, is going to get some nice quick scopes off, but surely does not have time to make this happen. Almost gets a little clip with a sniper rifle, but it would have been a Pyrrhic victory for sure. Round here to Team Mayhem.
All right. Well, they look solid right there. One thing I saw Shift, because I think he had kind of reviewed the VOD of the match for Mayhem against Truly as well. And one of the things he pointed out was Mayhem sticking with the double R9s for way longer than they realistically needed to. They make that change, get someone on an SMG that gives you a little bit more versatility. And at least in round number 1, does show them some success, but Raf's going to hop up top. He finds first blood right there. Space is going to get shut down on the trade. And it's back and forth as it's now a 3v3, but I don't know if they're going to read Teabag. Might not matter, though. Shots don't connect from the sniper, and now all down to Kings. 1v2 for him. They should have the information, and Forsaken looking for a jump shot. That is a risky play for Kings. He's going to go ahead and dip out. Still a minute 20 to work with.
Kings hit. Going to run right into the middle of the map, potentially. He might get some good timing as well. He's not going to know about this whatsoever. Just spot out Haxis, but is the trigger discipline there? Doesn't know exactly where he went. He only saw him by the van, so doesn't know that he went in the corner. And oh, goodness gracious me, that is so nicely played for Forsaken Axel. I don't know if they got like an audio cue or something that, hey, this guy is coming towards us, but no, not to be. And that was a really good play coming up from Mayhem off the start of the round, but Truly with an even better read, perfectly read that they were going straight towards B. And it was, of course, Coding with that double that turned things in their favor. So good response coming out from Truly.
Sometimes you do get the little enemy in sight call out, and I've got a feeling he probably heard that and was like, huh, there's only one position where he could have gotten there that fast. We're just going to tuck in the corner. Well played. That's Forsaken opening things up as he takes down Teabag. Jesus has snuck all the way through, but Yon has done the same on the opposite side. Raf needs to find one right here, and he does indeed. But they've got to try to equalize, and they do it. All down to Hax right here is 3 straight players for Truly fall. They should be able to hear him, and beautifully played by Jesus. Team Mayhem turn a 2v4 into a 2v0 in the blink of an eye.
To be frank, yeah, great play from Jesus Saves, but at the same time, what we're Truly doing? Like, as soon as he gets that first kill, you should know that he is there. The fact that he's able to get away with a second and then a third as well, that is quite literally getting away with murder and then some. Truly cannot let that happen. A little bit of mistake there in the communications to allow Jesus Saves into that position. But regardless now, Team Mayhem back up in the lead here. Different look coming out from Mayhem as they send themselves through the middle of the map. Nice set nade from Cartels to take out Forsaken early on in this round. And for the moment, the A-bomb site will be theirs once again. Finally, somebody from Team Mayhem goes down. It's Haxis is the player to push forward. But again, they don't actually have anybody inside the A site. And Raf, well, he wanted to kill through the middle of the map. He won't get it.
I'm shocked that he got out with his life. 2 players for Truly watching right there, but he's going to be able to find one with the pistol. They've made their way here on to the A site. I believe it is going to be Kings on watch from that backside entry point. So now the pressure looks like it's going to be on to Wet Noodle, a.k.a. Cody, to make the play right there, but that is just too long of an angle to hope to challenge anybody that is not point blank. Teabag on the backside. taking up the mantle for Blur and doing it well so far for Team Mayhem as they take the 3-1 lead.
I didn't actually see where the nade went, but I'm going to go ahead and presume that the nade from Cartels took out the player that was defending A and truly just couldn't kind of position themselves back over there. And this is kind of, I guess, the effect that Mayhem will have when they're constantly given truly different looks through the first 4 rounds, truly have to spread themselves thin as opposed to committing to one of these sites. And the same kind of thing is happening once again here. Axis is over towards A. It's a delayed hit though, so any set nades being pushed out by Mayhem will not have connected. And that gives truly a better chance here on the defense this time around.
Well, Raph can completely lock down boiler rooms right here as nobody's making way past that R9. Kings is going to find first blood onto Yawn, and once again, Mayhem have found themselves first blood advantage. Saken cooking a nade right here, trying to get something to work with, and Raph says, I'll just go ahead and send it on through. Not going to be able to connect for the first, but he does get traded. That's the information that Mayhem are looking for. Jesus, a little bit dicey right there, but picks up the kill, and once again, in prime position to be able to capitalize.
Yeah, if anything, for Truly here, the big player is going to be Haxis making his way over from A. Is the read good from Mayhem, though? Jesus saves is watching the mid-map cross, switches over towards the Switchblade. Not actually the weapon you want for this scenario, and he gets shut down. So now Haxis has actually done some serious damage here to Mayhem's chances of getting the B-bomb down and sufficiently defending it. Just 2 players. Straight out towards the side is Haxis. Nice snipe coming out from Kings, though. Haxis, can he blow this wide open? He's found the second kill, but Kings will switch to the D to finish things off. Haxis almost made it happen. It would have been 4 kills in the round for him, but it does not make him successfully make it work.
Coming down to the wire so many times, maybe a little bit of a need for Truly to see Space get more aggressive, I think. He's been able to pick up 5 kills, but a lot of those have been at the end of the rounds. Need him to find some first bloods, and they're not going to read this correctly. Is a wide open A site for Team Mayhem, and now Truly going to split on an attempt at a retake, but the question is, will they read Teabag? This is such a nasty spot where you can see so many different angles. Jesus lurking all the way back towards spawn. There are a lot of reads that Truly are going to have to make correctly to have a chance at the retake right here. And this is not an approach you typically see out of a planting team, but that's going to afford Jesus an easy pick. Teabag once again way back in spawn. They actually read it, but doesn't make much of a difference. Cartels picks up another right there. Now all down to Forsaken. That is clinical search and destroy out of Team Mayhem.
And once again, adaptation central from Team Mayhem. They recognize that Truly last time around sent somebody late towards the B-bomb site because they didn't get the nade kill, or the A-bomb site, excuse me. So what do? They run straight for it. They get the bomb down, knowing it more likely than not is going to be free. And the post-plant, as you said, mate, was absolutely sublime from Mayhem off the start here. 5-1 in Search and Destroy. We talked about how the Search and Destroy was relatively weak. Well, it doesn't feel like it is anymore, does it? Truly struggling to keep their head above the water in this one, and now they want to keep themselves as far as humanly possible away from it, towards the B-bomb site. But look at Mayhem, they're suffocating them.
Oh my gosh, just no room. Forsaken's gonna give them some. Trades do go through, but Kings beaming with the LK in hand. Raph sneaks all the way through, but Yawn can be able to make the read. Kings has already been able to do the damage, so into a 2v2, make it a 2v1, and Teabag should have the read onto Yawn, but can't make the shots connect. Is Kings going to get aggressive right here? Is he going to sit back? He should have the information. You got a Deagle brother. I don't know if that's the gunfight, and he's going to go ahead and back up right here. Give Yawn the opportunity to pick up the bomb and see if he can win the 1v1, an alternate route. One player up top of Generators reads it to perfection, and once again, Team Mayhem closed things out, and now 1 round away from a 2-0 lead in the series.
Again, it's just read perfectly, isn't it? Truly, they fully commit towards the B site, and Mayhem, I mean, they fully commit on the defense. So butting heads, and Mayhem just get the better of them by fully committing towards the site. Now, do they do it again? It looks like it's going to be the 5-hit on towards A this time. A couple of players are actually through the middle of the map to adapt if they need it, and it feels like it's now going to be as soon as they recognize that nobody's inside the reactor. Hey guys, this is a B hit, so let's get our butts moving over them, and it won't be long before they get their way over towards the site.
I'm expecting an instant flank out of Mayhem right here. I believe there's at least 2 players making that play. That's going to be Jesus, and he's able to find first blood once again. Teabag finds the shot on decoding right there. I think he was taking a screenshot after that one. He felt so good about it. Jesus with another. He has been so difficult to read for this Truly squad, and all down to Space right here. Going to be able to find one.
Uh-oh, he won't.
That was actually Teabag. That's Team Mayhem. A 7-1. Oh, they're all going to shoot bodies. Oh, they might not even take the round.
Guys, bomb. Get the defuse? Yeah, okay, they're going to get it.
I was about to say, if they do that, Sylvia's not going to be happy. So they go ahead, they close things out right there. And Team Mayhem now one map away from getting a much-needed win here in the challenge season.
How about that for a very different look from what we saw against Rejects the other day. Against Rejects the other day, they got slammed in Search and Destroy. Against Truly, though, very different story. Jesus. Literally, Jesus. I mean, I gotta say, it was a masterclass in Search and Destroy coming out from Mayhem. Pretty much every single round, they were making the adaptations necessary. And, you know, Truly, I think meeting them when they needed to, for the most part, but I think just getting outplayed. And I think, you know, the most notable kind of selection of rounds that we saw from Mayhem, where I think that was abundantly clear, is when Truly tried to adapt to them in terms of what Mayhem were doing over towards the A site, in terms of getting aggressive with the set nades and such, removing the defensive players from that position. Mayhem were like, all right, if you just aren't going to send anybody over here, you're going to go on a delayed hit, we're just going to hit you super aggressively, and it'll be our round. And that's exactly what happens. Mayhem just looks so good at the moment, so well put together in the Search and Destroy. And it's not like Truly looked lost or anything. They just had no response.
No, they didn't. And obviously, we talked about maybe Space needing to do more. The whole team really realistically did. A 7-1, not something that you can realistically afford to happen. And across the board, with the exception of Cartels, everybody on Team Mayhem looks super solid. So the absence of Blur is not something that is seemingly affecting them in a super negative way so far. Now, obviously, maybe a bit of a gap between your Trulies and your Rejects and your Seminoles. Took me a second to remember the new name. But to be winning these maps, and especially the Search and Destroy, in as dominant a fashion as Team Mayhem are right now, I think is definitely a very good sign for them as they head into the last week and more than likely the playoffs.
They need this confidence boost, I think. It's very rough, I think, for Mayhem on the whole, for their run-in early on in this season to be seminal and then to be Rejects. That is a really tough run-in, I think. And then, of course, you've got to get Truly out the way as well here in week 3. I think it's just difficult on the whole for that to be kind of hitting your mental game like that, and especially the way that those series went, right? If they took a map off of Seminole or Rejects, I think it would have been a little bit more palatable, but to get slammed in the way that they did 0-6 between those series, I think is a tough cookie to swallow, really, right? So for these guys now, coming out here, being 2-0 up against Truly, I think is going to be the confidence booster they need, because Truly aren't by no means a bad squad at all. You look at the names on the squad, you look at what they've been able to achieve in the past. This is a good team to beat. And so far, they've definitely had to work for it in the hard point, but that Search and Destroy was... sheesh.
Yep. Was not pretty. Getting ready to head into the control. Once again, Truly have looked good on the raid control so far this season, but you got to feel like there might be a bit of a confidence issue coming out of a Search and Destroy map like that, so we'll see if they can regain. They are going to be on the defensive side Truly are going to be on the offensive side to start. So we'll see what Team Mayhem can do and if they can keep things even all the way through. Typically, offense the stronger side here in the raid control. Fairly even on the trades to get things started right here, and no sizable tick progression for this squad so far. Teabag keeping things locked down on the van.
But importantly, Truly, I mean, they hit B, it doesn't work, they go towards A. I love it. Good job, guys. You've got the fundamentals of raid control down to a T, Truly. And now, looking to get control of it, Truly. Starting with the double stack, now making a triple stack. If they can stack this pretty fast, they might actually just get the capture before Team Mayhem even get a look. The couple of kills now starting to come through. On the flank is Raph, and he gets shut down as well. Hold your horses for a second here, folks. Mayhem are getting shut down at every single avenue. And Truly, they've already got 2 ticks of progression through. Teabag, finally the only player to have something to say on the resistance. But this might be done. They should be stacking this point. Why are they not stacking this point? They would have capped A by now. Raph flies through. Space, it goes back in towards Tiki. And somehow, some way, Truly do not capture the point when they should have done.
Forsaken's very content to just sit over on basketball and keep trying to farm kills, so they lose pretty much all of that progress, and they've lost the life advantage as well. Cartels has not been dealt with. Finally, they take him out right there, but that's going to be Raph sliding on up. He's able to shut down one. Traded out, but once again, Team Mayhem have done their job to avoid that A capture, and that puts Truly in a much more difficult position.
Opportunities don't come that often like that. We'll discuss it after the game. Jesus Saves, though, is getting some easy kills up top in the bedroom. His performance is pretty good in there. Teabag now towards basketball side. Finds a kill. Haxis trying to play his life inside art. He gets shut down as well. All of these kills are going Team Mayhem's way. And now there's 20 seconds left on the clock here, Bobby. Mayhem have a 4-life advantage and truly have no map control whatsoever. Jesus Saves has repositioned towards bottom bedroom.
Oh, he's just got all the cheeky angles, going to be able to find another. Not enough for him to earn the Pred missile, but once again, the damage has been done. No real progress toward that A objective, and now down 4 lives. Truly have got to play perfect control the rest of the way through. It looks like they're going to be able to stack things right here. But Jesus content to sit back. You know, they've only got 1 second to make it happen, and they've got a lot of map to I don't know. I don't know what word I'm looking for right there. They got a long ways to go to try to get B captured as well.
And look, there are ways to do this. As long as you kind of split the map up, I would say, you know, a couple of players through mid, a couple of players perhaps through laundry side, you might well have a chance to overwhelm Mayhem. You need to do it as a team, though. I think that's the bottom line for me. Don't just run out individually and die and then be surprised, shocked Pikachu face that you die. I don't want to see that. They are going for a 4-hit around the backline, and T-Bag able to pick up 1, able to pick up the second as well. Surely not number 3. You cannot let that happen. How on earth are you letting T-Bag find 4 there? That's not okay. T-Bag decimates the opposition, and they're now just down a Forsaken and Space. The Hex duo looking to pull off a 2 versus A. It would be phenomenal. They get a couple of kills here, Bobby, but the chances and likelihood of them actually touching this point in time, pretty darn slim. And Forsaken is just not going to give one of the final kills away. And yeah, truly end up losing round number 1. I got to say, Bobby, I think their chances would have been a lot better if they had captured A significantly quicker the first time they had the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, they definitely didn't do themselves any favor. And once again, to a certain degree, it seemed like in a lot of those situations, there was just not a lot of communication because there were teammates getting gunned down and then no trades anywhere to be found for Truly, and that put them in a tough spot. That's going to be Team Mayhem finding a lot of first bloods right there. They're going to invest some of the operators. Not much value found for Raph, though. Kings pulls out the Annihilator, going to be able to find 2. And with that, they clear out a little bit more breathing room over here on the B objective. Space still to be dealt with in the top side. He's going to be able to find 2 as T-Bag finds 1 Hunter Killer in hand. Space finally taken down, and with that, they should be able to lock in B.
Good start coming out from Mayhem. And they're already starting to split their offenses over towards A as well, hedging their bets that they're going to capture B, and Truly are going to let them do it. They're not going to invest any more resources into this. They're much more preoccupied with making sure they do have some kind of presence over towards jungle side so the immediate flank doesn't happen. That's actually not where the pressure is coming from Mayhem. You can see 3 players backed up towards basketball and jungle side. The players are actually making their way towards bedroom, and in choosing to go towards jungle side and not bedroom side, you give closer spawns away to Mayhem. This is a massive risk that, in my opinion, already has fallen apart for Truly here on the defense because Mayhem are already knocking at your door. They're ready to make their way through the kitchen side. Players on all sides of the control zone. Kings opens things up with the first blood. The rest of the cavalry is on the way. Raph finds another one. The smoke is going to remit the positioning of Raph as well, so the capture can start to come through.
And once you get kitchen control, the round is all but over. We do see a couple operators come out that might be able to zone off this objective for Truly right here. Yawn, Saken, what can they find? Enough to at least get things cleared out. It was a little bit costly, but if they can find a couple more kills, might be able to equalize lives, and they do just that. So it's not over yet. Hex looking for information through the wall right there. And you do still have a couple of operators to work with, so they've done a good job of bouncing back. But once again, you've got to maintain that kitchen control. And right now, only 1 player to do it. Just like that, Team Mayhem have broken through, and this should be the window that they're looking for.
Yep, for sure. Smoke down. Coverage provided. Now back on all the points. The clock will stop once again. Cartel's trying to get some spawn kills. He only finds 1, so shutting down the claw will be important. Trudy's biggest adversity, though, here is going to be the lives. Just down to 4 players off the board. It's all down to Forsaken, Space, and Codeine. You don't really want to invest any of the operators here in this scenario. So they're going to have to do it with the guns, and Space and Codeine go down, all down to Forsaken. He's being hunted down by T-Bag as well. Mayhem, they get it done. Truly just collapse so early on into the round. That's what happens right there when you let a team on the offense get control of B right away.
Truly have just not been able to read a single route from T-Bag. He has caught players off guard at every possible angle, and it has made things very difficult for them to read. Forsaken's going to do a lot of damage through the smoke right there. That should be his teammates cleaning things up, and they're getting aggressive as T-Bag pops the War Machine, but I don't think anything found. It looks like we do have the equalizers coming out for Cody, and what can he find? One right there should have been traded, but does not get taken down. And if he can find some more value, an opportunity to close the gap, but just like that, Team Mayhem wiped 4 off the board. And a rough spot for this Truly squad to be, especially with Raph. Equalizer on the inside of Jim right here.
Raph just chilling in Jim, giving Truly a real workout at the moment, isn't he? Finally going to get shut down, but more kills, a flurry for Mayhem. Nice kills coming through from space. That'll actually clear some space over towards bedroom side. Kings, though, is still being a nuisance over there. You need to take him down before moving. And actually, to be fair, between Space and Forsaken, Truly do finally remove all of that presence on the bedroom side. The problem now is they've got 25 seconds to make something happen here. Got to have a unified push towards one of these 2 points. Cody messing about in the middle of the map gets shut down. There goes Yawn as well. Now it has to be all on A. What can they do over there? It's a couple of players. One of them's got the claw ready to go, but King's on the other side. He's got the Annihilator. Going to get shut down. They haven't quite cleared their backline though, and Jesus saves. Well, Jesus kills apparently. Takes down a couple of players. Looking for more as well. The piecing happening once more here. 7 seconds for something to happen from Truly's side. Can anybody touch in time? You've got to find your way towards the point right now. With 1 second on the clock, I believe it's all happening over by A. Jesus saves, wants to be the player to clear the point, switches out towards the Sparrow to get it done, and he takes himself down to take Yawn out of the situation there. It's a 3-0 here in the control. Nicely done from Team Mayhem. Convincing in maps number 2 and 3.
They were very convincing. That was not the Team Mayhem that I expected to see, but this new roster is looking really, really strong right here. Obviously, Truly probably still some work to do as one of the newer teams in our top 4, but Mayhem absolutely handled business. That was clean S&D, that was clean control. Realistically, it was clean hardpoint as well. I think mainly the issue there was just the fact that Truly were maybe a little bit more comfortable in the mode with the way that the team is set up, but definitely a lot of work for them to do, and looking like they're going to have a tough battle with their upcoming match against Rejects as well.
Yeah, that was... I expected more out of Truly, to be honest with you. And I think fundamentally speaking, they made a couple of mistakes, especially in that controller. I got to go back to, I think it was round number 1, I want to say, where Truly just, they had the opportunity to capture A, and they just didn't. You know, in that situation, it's one of those things as a caster who's casted control for years now. It's so frustrating when you're just sitting like stack the point, and they just do not do it. It drives me mental, I'll be honest with you. And just seeing it again, I feel like I've got PTSD all over again.
Well, Team Mayhem shutting down any doubts that we might have had on the potential performance here when it came to this bubble matchup between these two squads. A very, very clean 3-0 to close out their series here up against Truly. And that means that Mayhem will be starting to give themselves a little bit of cushion, really trying to make sure that they claim that 4th spot heading into Challenge Finals. And don't forget, one of the teams that's here, and we get a chance to look at the leaderboard too, one of the teams that was up here is Disciples, and they're playing next up against Rejects. So we've got 2 and 3. Those two, they're about to play against each other. That'll change how these standings look. Team Mayhem now 2 and 2. Now also Truly 2 and 2. I mean, yeah, the score lines are scary close, but we still have another week of competition. And you mentioned it before, Bobby. Mayhem started off the season going up against some of the hardest people they had to go up against. So it might get a little bit easier, where I think Truly still has that one matchup against Rejects, like you mentioned, that could maybe knock them then even farther below Mayhem.
Yeah, I think as far as the standings go, probably the most notable team is Disciples, who you look at that and you're like, wow, they're doing really good. They've only got 1 loss. But I believe that 1 loss was the one where they put up 24 points in the total match up against Luminosity. So when you take that into consideration, that probably tells you that the rest of the teams are going to be playing our top 4 teams, which is going to be a much tougher task. They do have Rejects coming up, like we said, and I don't think that they're going to be showing a whole lot of mercy.
I think it's I think we've actually got some good matches here as far as everything that we have to talk about all day and how these matches directly correlate to all of our storylines. If I'm not mistaken, we're also working on getting an interview ready here to just close out this series. Might as well, right? After a dominant performance like that out of Team Mayhem. I mean, why not?
I do love post-match interviews, just because the players get so... As long as it's not with like the loser, they're never fun. If you interview this, like, what did you do wrong?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're never fun. But post-match interviews with the winner, always a fun time, because they're always like high, they're always happy right after the game. And I got to imagine whoever we get, I assume from Mayhem here, whoever we get is going to be super happy, because this has been a depressing season so far for them. So...
Well, I believe we have Jesus Saves coming on to hang out with us and chat a little bit after that very, very clean 3-0 out of Mayhem. Can you hear me? How are you? How you feeling after that?
I can hear you good. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Good. All right, yeah, feeling good. I mean, we expected to win in 3-0, but our main focus is just Tribe and LG, really. Qualifying for Brazil. This is just a little pebble in the road.
I mean, obviously, you probably heard us giving you guys a little bit of a hard time about your S&D, but you looked really, really clean this time around. So what'd you clean up from last week to this week?
Well, we did make a little roster shift with S&D with Blur is very, very strong. But I think we were all on the same page. We're really connected. Our main focus was just playing together and being unpredictable. And I think we executed that pretty well in that matchup. So, yeah.
That answers the question I was about to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brody.
It's okay. It's perfectly fine. I got the answer. You knew what I wanted to ask before I even asked it. But what I will say is we'll ask about kind of the matches you've had so far, right? Because today I think must have been a massive confidence boost for you guys, considering the first couple of matches that you guys had were versus LG, now Seminole, and former Tribe, now Rejects. Those matches did not go well for you guys at all. Kind of what is the thought process now for you guys after kind of 0-6 versus the top dogs, moving forward in potential playoff situation?
That's a great question. Well, I wouldn't want to spill everything, but just to give a general idea on how we'll approach this next face-off, whether it's Tribe or LG or now Seminole, I think honestly a lot of it has to do with just staying still. I think we move too much. I think we're too antsy sometimes. And so we're going to be cleaning up there, just being a bit more composed, calm, being more aware of everything on the map. And I think if we just do that, we'll have a lot better result versus those teams. It's not so much, they're very good, but we're getting in the way of ourselves. So that's the main thing we have to fix. And we do that, we'll be fine.
Awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, obviously, Teabag is the newest addition to you guys' roster. And it feels like he's improving substantially week over week, which does make sense as somebody that is coming into a roster of players that have all been playing together for, the past year now. What does he bring to the table to elevate the way that you guys play the game?
Okay, well, he's really good in terms of his gun skill, but I think an underrated thing with Teabag itself is he's actually pretty smart. Like, he's a smart player. He's not an idiot. And so that helps with our overall strategies and how we play the game. When we're in the game itself, he helps IGL sometimes, which is always nice because it's a little bit of a support. And yeah, it just helps keep us on track, and I really like that about him. So
all right,
I would say those are the few points for him.
I love it.
I like it. I like it. Well, congratulations on the 3-0 there. You guys looked super, super strong.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, though, and enjoy the rest of your day, do you have any shout-outs that you want to do for anybody?
You know what? I told my sister this last time I was on an interview. I forgot to shout her out last time. So I'm going to shout out my sister, Avir. She just had a baby, too, so I'm very happy for her. Shout out to my mom, my teammates. Thank you. I'm just grateful for the team. And yeah, I mean, all the fans watching, all the supporters, all the haters, everybody. It's a good scene. I just want it to keep growing. So
absolutely. Well,
and thank you guys. You guys are doing amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on here and chatting with us, for taking the time after you guys get the win. We always appreciate being able to speak with you guys a little bit and pick your brains for all sorts of questions that we have after we get to watch seasons and seasons of this. I won't keep you any longer, though.
Yes.
Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Alrighty, we'll see you soon.
All right, that's got to feel good. Getting their win when they need it, setting themselves up well on the leaderboard. They're good now. They can kind of take a deep breath. And honestly, they looked clean. They looked really clean. And now as we switch our focus to match number 2, we've mentioned it a couple times, it's going to be Rejects versus Disciples. We saw that they currently sit at 2nd and 3rd on the leaderboard. I don't know. I mean, it's a great storyline week. This is going to be a tough matchup for Disciples, though.
Yeah, it is. They are definitely a team that has proven that they've got some substance to themselves, and they've earned their spot here, but Rejects have just looked to be on a different level. They, like we said, alongside Luminosity, have not dropped a map so far. So as much as I would love to see Disciples put up a good fight right here, they're going to have to be just 100% locked in every mode, 0 mistakes, because they cannot be afforded at this stage.
0 mistakes is going to be tough. Yeah. That's going to be tough against the team of 0 mistakes. So we'll have to see how it goes. Before we do that, though, we're going to send it to a short break, give our players a little bit of time to get themselves ready, and jump into match number 2 when we return. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting? It's hot. Look what I got. Whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast. I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy, and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes. I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited. Like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete? Well, get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Ha. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Ha. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me, how'd I turn pain into energy. Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where it's time for us to get into match number 2 of the day, and that's between Rejects and Disciples, to get into yet another leaderboard storyline. Our second and third place teams right now could change after this match is said and done. If you are just joining us and you missed the first one, it was a clean 3-0 in favor of Team Mayhem against Truly, one of the matches that we were looking to see what would happen with there when it comes to our bubble squads, as only the top 4 will make the way through to the challenge finals. So let's start talking about Rejects versus Disciples here, Brody.
Yeah, this one's going to be a toughie, I think, for Disciples. For Rejects, it's going to be a nice little kind of palate cleanser, as it were, before their final match of the day. But for Disciples, it's going to be really difficult. Of course, this is the Reject squad. Envy, the latest addition to the lineup, has fit in here so well. And since then, these guys have been on the up and up. Rejects have looked the best they have looked, I think, in a very, very long time. And it's just what the doctor ordered for this squad. So it's going to be tough, I think, for Disciples to come out and beat a roster that's looking this good at the moment.
Yeah, Robalo has definitely been in prime form. S-Thug looking like one of the top ARs in NA. And then you throw Envy into that. Solo just so difficult to kill, and Jez is world champion. So when you throw that much together into a squad, obviously they're going to be tough to beat. Disciples have done a good job so far this season handling business where they've needed to, but there's just a very glaring difference between the top of the leaderboard and the bottom of the leaderboard. So if they want to find a way to crack through and give themselves some playoff hope, obviously they got to take down one of those top 4, and Rejects realistically don't seem like their best chance of doing it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Rejects here. For Disciples.
You got him all flustered now.
You make one joke. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Disciples here. I think the thing is with Disciples is they've played 4 games so far, and the one game I think that was difficult per se, they got totally smashed on. Like, it wasn't even like it was close games. They got 3-0'd. What would you say? It was like 24 points in the hard point.
Yep.
And it was 0-7 in the Search and Destroy, 0-3 in the Control. It was not a nice series. They've been playing on tutorial mode for the entirety of the tournament so far. And now they go up against Rejects, and I think this is just so difficult, just on the whole. I don't even know what the way... You know how I'm normally the positive one here. I don't even know where the in this series is.
I think the problem, though, is that it's hard to find any team except Seminole and Rejects that can stand up against Seminole and Rejects, you know? So they're always kind of going to be at this top upper echelon of the conversation, which is why when we started the show, we were also really focusing on 3rd and 4th, because that's when things get a little bit less certain, and it really depends on maybe a pop-off performance here or an unexpected result there, because we just had Truly and Team Mayhem go, and Mayhem wins, and all that does is tie Truly and Mayhem up at 2-2 on the leaderboard. Even if Disciples lose, they're still going to be above those 2 on the leaderboard. So it's like you're playing Jenga at that point, trying to slot people in, figure out where they go, you know?
It's a very apt comparison. It's brilliant. Yeah, I think it is just very difficult here. I think, as I said, you know, the in for this series for me, when I look at it, obviously you've got your hard point, your Search and Destroy, and your Control, right? Control, at the moment, Disciples are not good at. They've won 1, I think, and that was versus Team NBA at the start of the season. For the rest of it, they've been completely destroyed by every team that they've come up against in Control. Search and Destroy, you're going head-to-head with arguably the best team in North America at the moment in Search and Destroy. Rejects have, like, incredible stats in Search and Destroy. Their differential, by the way, is almost 6 rounds through the 4. Like, they have, like, I think the average opposing team has got 1 round against them in S&D. That is literally insane. It's just so difficult in this best of 5 to find something. They've got to come out swinging in the hard point. That's the way I'm looking at this.
All right, well, we'll get those picks and bans up here so we can see what they picked for the hard point, see if there is a possibility of Disciples to do something with that, at least come out the gate pretty hot up against the Rejects, because when those map vetoes are ready, we're starting off with Takeoff. I was going to see when they're ready, that might inform us a little bit more on this play, Bobby.
I kind of figured it was going to be Takeoff. I believe back in the open qualifiers, that was kind of the go-to map for this Disciple squad, and they did look solid there. I'm assuming they've been putting in work there as well. So, like we said, they've really, if they want to have any chance at winning the series, they've got to start things off by taking the hard point. So they're going up against a team that I believe that is actually where they played LG last week. But Takeoff is probably LG's strongest hard point map. Rejects.
Come on, man.
Oh, I keep saying LG too.
One day.
I can't even. Oh my gosh. I just went like 0 for 4. So yeah, I mean, like, Takeoff is probably their pick. I'm just not sure how confident I feel about it.
Yeah, Takeoff is good for both of these teams, to be honest with you. It is, I think Rejects are strong at 2 maps, and it's Hacienda and Takeoff from last season, so Takeoff is great for them. But Takeoff is also the strongest map at the moment for Disciples. They're 2-0 on it, so I think they are comfortable with that. It gives them a good shot into the series, especially considering we already talked about how Hardpoint needs to be the victory, the in, as it were, for this series. Looking over towards the Search and Destroy, though, we're starting off on Express. I don't think we've seen that from either of these two teams yet. If we have, it is escaping my memory. But Slums we have seen, so if it goes to a map 5, this is also good for Disciples because they are 2-0 in this as well. So far, so good in the vetoes.
Unfortunately, there's Control. So,
yeah.
That's, I mean, that one you can pretty much talk. Like, if we're down 0-2 and we're Disciples going into map number 3 is going to be really, really challenging to paint a storyline where they have a realistic path to a map 4. But, you know, hopefully they've been practicing, and I know there's been lots of people playing pickup scrims and everything, so hopefully they've been partaking in that and studying it a little bit more.
Yeah, look, on the bright side, it's not Raid, because Disciples have played Raid 3 times now. They've lost it every single time, so I'm glad that that is not the map. Hopefully that was their ban. Crossroads, though, is Rejects this season best Control map. So, yeah.
It almost feels like there's no winning then there.
No, well, I mean, it's like I said, we talked about it in the European region when we talk about kind of exclusive, right? And Kings, it's like, what do you veto against those?
Right, exactly.
They're so good at everything. And we say the same thing for Seminole. We say the same thing for Rejects. What do you veto against squads that literally have not lost a map? Like, what do you do? There is no winning. So, honestly, here, we've got no analysis left.
All right, well, if you have no analysis left, then that means I can send you off to the other side of the studio for not analysis, but commentary, so we can get into match number 2.
If there's one thing I know, it's commentary.
Do we know that?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Not very well that often. But you know what? We can pull it off every so often, some form of commentary, even if it's not that good. What we want to see being pulled off here is a big win for Rejects, right? 3-0, it would leave them flawless.
What are you laughing about? Why does this keep happening?
I say something.
This is just what happens when we cast at this time of the morning.
What time is it? It's 3 a.m. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to reset myself.
Well, fortunately for Rejects, it is smack dab in the middle of the evening for them, so they should come into this feeling fairly refreshed and ready to go. Once again, going up against a Disciple squad that they should be very, very capable of handling. And it looks like we're already ready to go for map number 1. See if there's any goofiness coming out for these guys. Looks like most of the loadout's pretty straightforward. They're expecting to handle business. It looks like Hope not going to be in the rotation for this Disciple squad. Do you have any comments on that, Brody? Could you say there's no hope?
Shut up. That's what I said. I was going to...
I gave you the opportunity to say it.
For reference, guys, that was a pun that I was going to make because we knew that there was a roster change coming into the series. I chose not to make it on the idea that if I didn't make it, I would be laughing. And you've got your 2 for 2 on big puns. Nicely done, Bobby. You're amazing. All right, look, Rejects, they don't want Disciples to be amazing coming in towards this best of 5. Just Disciples, look, I still think we don't want to underestimate this squad here. They've still got some other good players on the roster. I think Obey is one of those ones that are going back towards the Open Finals. He actually had a pretty good run of things. So Disciples here, still in with a chance, but they need to come out swinging against Rejects, and so far that has not happened. Rejects at the start of this hard point have got themselves an early lead.
They've been picking up the kills, but just haven't really been able to convert it into hardpoint time so far. Although 8 seconds is probably a better start than they had up against the boys over on Seminole based on the final scoreline that we saw on this map. Obey on the top side. Going to be able to at least lock down some stairs control. We'll see if they can win those opening gunfights, and they do. So already nearly eclipsed the score that they had going up against LG on this map, but Solo on the opposite side looking to do some damage. He's going to get shut down as well, but not a bad start for Disciples as they continue to funnel in from that strong side.
Yeah, I like this actually from Disciples. They're not just sending players in towards that side, they're also sending players around on the flank for a little pinch play. Now it's just one player left alive though, and that's PV who gets shut down. And on the whole, to be fair, while I like Disciples currently contesting this hill, it's not a great positioning in terms of the spawns. There is a rogue spawn that comes through from Zako that he probably should be taking advantage of, not to go towards hold. Why are you going towards hold? There's 20 seconds left. But to move over towards the next hard point because that rotation will be paramount very, very soon. This is why it's so awkward for teams that continually push and spawn there because they're not in a great position for the next hill. That being said, with those kills from Jez, actually, he completely clears out the spawn and causes a spawn flip that will actually favor Disciples towards the next rotation.
I think he got either 5 or 6 there with the Sparrow in hand, and Obey's going to be able to win one on rotation, so Jez goes ahead, uses the Pred missile that he's earned, but that's a costly investment, and Disciples have things locked down toward P3, typically one of the more important hard points on this map, and Obey on the backside, absolutely clearing out. They're going to start to get their operators, and they've been able to lock things down and have already eclipsed that 24-point mark from when they were playing against LG on the same map, and Obey has earned himself a Pred.
I tell you what, mate, Obey is cooking at the moment. He's got the Purifier, and he is toasting every single player on the opposition. Kato decides to bring out the Sparrow now. Doesn't last that long, though, unfortunately, so Disciples now have actually been pushed out of the hard point. Envy decides this is the time to utilize some of these operators. The Claw comes out, as does the War Machine from Raballo. This is a big investment coming out from Rejects, and on the other side, we also see Obey utilizing the Predator missile. I'll be honest, Bobby, you know I like to call things out when I see it. That was not a good Predator missile utilization. You could have used that much, much better later on down the line, and I think they'll come to regret that when they actually need it.
Well, that's a big feed for Rejects, as it looks like they're starting to get a little more locked in right here. Maybe underestimating their opponent. Having seen that scoreline from last week, they do have things locked down toward P4 and should have one player rotated up to the top side. That's actually going to be Solo picking up the DRH. Not a role we typically see him in, but having some success as he clears out the last one on the bottom side of the hard point. Just like that, the Pred missile has been earned. One player going to slide on through for Rejects, but Solo has got to get dealt with. S-Thug pops the Annihilator right there, takes down Kato. Not going to find much more value out of that.
Yeah, I believe Solo is still on that streak, though, so we'll keep an eye on him. He could soon earn the EMP, and that would not be nice if you're Disciples. Right now, they're stuck in that blender that we always kind of know, those back spawns. They might actually be influenced ever so slightly by Jez with his positioning over towards P2. It causes a couple of players to spawn out from Disciples, but the read is good from the likes of Solo and S-Thug that combine for 3. 10 seconds left now, and Disciples just not really finding a way through every single time. It's one by one, and obviously when you've got this many guns looking at you, you're gonna get cut down every single time. S-Thug now finds for himself on Thor in a row. The EMP has been earned from Solo here, and Bobby, this has been the start that you wanted if you're Rejects. Not so much for Disciples on the whole. The only good hill they've had so far was that early rotation towards P3, and that was gifted to them.
Yeah, no question about it. Rapallo, I don't know how he won that one. Even with the Peeker's disadvantage right there, he's going to be able to lock in some hard point time. Solo used the Pred to zone out the rest of that area, and they've got this side of the map completely locked down. Coldest, big swing and a miss right there. Solo with the boxing gloves connects. And now Rejects locking in, like we said, a little bit more serious on this back side of the rotations. And there has not been a single opening for Rejects ever since P3.
Oh, it's Envy. Recognizes the spawn coming through from Zako and immediately takes him out of the equation here. 3 players down. You know exactly where Disciples are going to be spawning from. This is when things can really just turn disastrous for Disciples here in this scenario. You cannot afford to give a full 60 away from P2, and this isn't even the conventional spawn trap. Rejects here, they are working with something from Disciples that is really not normal whatsoever. Disciples spawning out on the complete opposite side to the regular spawns you expect to see when you know teams you can spawn trap them here on P2, and Rejects are still working with it, making it look like it's completely the norm. Disciples cannot find a way through even for a contest, and I think, to be honest with you, Bobby, part of it is just because of the fact that they're going in one by one. Once again, they are not pushing as a team at this point, and Rejects, I mean, they're going to win these kills all day long.
Oh, Solo finally gets knocked off his spree. He was on 12 in a row, earned a second EMP system, and Rejects got so carried away with picking up their streaks that they forgot that there was a hard point, but fortunately Solo's got an equalizer. He's going to be able to clear that out, and they are set up once again.
Oh, Jesus.
Jez maybe the best Sparrow in the West with the way he's playing right now. Not going to be able to take down PV, but once again, the trades are there. And Rejects have broken back on in. Not good spawns if you're trying to make your way on over to P3 either.
Yeah, exactly that. That's exactly what I was going to say, mate. I mean, look, Rejects, last time around, they gave those spawns away to Disciples. This time, no such luck for Disciples, as Solo now really starting to force the issue. They are actually finally going to spawn one out. But the Re is so good as well. I love this map knowledge right now from Rejects. You saw Raballo on the minimap coming off the respawn, recognizes that, hey, these kills have been made from a player that was pushing too deep into the offensive spawn. And what do? Recognize exactly where the player coming off the respawn is going to be. Nice knowledge from Rejects as they cross the 200-point barrier here. Operators now starting to come to play as well. S-Thug not actually going to get all that much for the Annihilator, but his presence on its own is an operator at this point. Perhaps a break now from Disciples. PV only going to find one. Disciples now 3 on the other side. Hunter Killer Drone should connect on towards 1, and indeed it absolutely does. 2 more players coming through. Obeys. Purify gets shut down almost immediately, as does every other player on Disciples. Rejects can't finish things here, but oh, they might as well.
Right now, Jez and I believe Raballo are just having a field day up at top red right now. Beaming everybody in sight. Raballo said, I got a war machine. Let's go ahead and put this one out. Well, it's been out of reach for a minute, but let's go ahead and shut it down. Only 6 seconds needed on that P4 rotation, and what do you know? Players spawning there, and players already set up in the top side. S-Thug gonna pick up a couple more. That is going to be Rejects handling business. Things looked a little dicey in the beginning, but once they got locked in, it was a full send all the way through, and with S-Thug dropping the pred, that'll do the rest of the damage. Last one doesn't even have a chance to land.
That could have been worse for Disciples. I mean, they got 65 points. They shouldn't have done. The only reason they got 65 points, to be honest, and this is not me being harsh, it is me being a little harsh, isn't it? Was because, again, you go back towards that run rotation where Rejects kind of messed it up a little bit by just pushing too aggressively through towards the side of P2, which they shouldn't have done. They gave away P3 spawns and just took a little bit of a while to get in towards that hard point. Before that point, yeah, Disciples had 18 points, and then they went up towards 50 or so by the end of this hill. Yeah. Rejects just playing so well, and honestly the team play of this Rejects roster is why we are so confident in them at this point in the season, because adding Envy feels like not much has changed in terms of maybe the chemistry, but it certainly has in terms of the slaying power.
I think Solo had multiple 10 sprees, which is just absolutely ridiculous to say, but with the way that he's playing right here, you can't really say that you're all that surprised. And once again, this is what we expected to happen right there. Disciples did a phenomenal job of winning the matches that they needed to win, but just on a completely different level is this Rejects roster, and now we're heading into their best game mode in Search and Destroy.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But hey, maybe Disciples can dig deep and find something here. We look over towards the final scoreboard there, and well, I mean, we almost had a situation where we had all 5 players on 30+. Raballo and S-Thug are going to be the only ones to disappoint us in that category. But you know what? I think we can forgive them because they absolutely dominated Disciples in that game. Raballo actually finishes, despite being 29 and 19, with 2 minutes and 43 seconds inside the hill. My guy is a hill kitten, and he enjoyed every single second of it. Disciples... oh boy, you said it, mate. Search and Destroy is going to be rough because this is, as we said, Rejects' best game mode statistically this season thus far. The fact of the matter is they have dominated everybody on it. And that stat line that I brought up is in consideration with the Mayhem matchup, where they 7-2'd them on Search and Destroy. I mean, that is just insane to not lose more than 2 rounds on S&D to anybody in the competition so far is nuts.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And that was honestly probably the most surprising outcome that I think we've seen in this challenge season so far, was how dominant that Search and Destroy was, because that was a matchup that, based on past history, we expected to be fairly close. And I think especially because of the Search and Destroy, that was not the case. So heading into this one, once again, Team Disciples, they've got some spunk. They've got some...
Dude, what is... I've never heard anyone use that word
really
in a normal setting.
Really?
Yes, that means you need to come to the UK, mate. Say that in the UK.
Okay.
Just go to someone else on the sidewalk and go, you've got a spunk.
I think they would feel very appreciative. That's a compliment. They I think I'm going to be casting solo for the next minute. We do have some solid A-side control right here for at least one player. I'm not sure what Envy was doing right here. I thought we had some solid A-side control, but unfortunately you got solo with an R9, and when that's the case, nothing is ever safe. Envy's going to be able to pick up the last kill right there, and they speed run round 1.
Yeah. Just unfortunate there. Disciples.
Defend the objective.
Hey, so much. The Disciples just hit the A site and you get completely dismantled. Now straight towards B though. These guys, not the numbers for rejects. Doesn't matter though. Raballo picks up 2 right from the rip. And that is not good for Disciples. Now having to fight their way back on towards the site. Obey has something to say, but is it that much? He goes down and quickly we're left up for Coldest for the 1v3.
Seems like the remaining rejects players have a pretty good idea of where they need to be looking. Raballo's going to shut things down right there. And that's rejects taking the 2-0 lead. I'd be surprised if we don't see some executions start to come through a little bit. Typically,
Not now.
Not now?
Not 3 rounds deep.
I mean, they could have executed him right there.
Yeah. I guess they could have done.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying you need to do it every round, but if the opportunity prevents it, well, you know what? They might actually just get the kills. 11 seconds.
Jesus.
That might be the fastest search and destroy round I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really quick. I mean, it's express, right? Because like so many of these rounds do just go down to butting heads inside the terminal towards B.
Defend the objective.
But not like that. Jeez Louise. Rejects now. Good job there aren't any streaks here in Search and Destroy because, yeah, rejects will be earning them pretty darn quickly. Gold is down for the count already. Kato goes as well. What are you even laughing about?
I just haven't seen Disciples actually like look at any of the rejects players. They're literally just dead before they wrap the. All right, another 24-second round right there. Rejects just feeling really, really impatient right now. Dinner is getting cold. They've got somewhere to be, and they're just going ham sandwich with it right now. Raballo on 7 kills. So far, Disciples have combined for 3. And we now see a slightly varied approach as they head back on over toward the A side. Not a whole lot of success in the first round. A lot of utility invested, and there we go. Kato's going to find first blood.
Yeah, the problem is those silos sitting up top inside the control room. I'm sure they'll check it in a minute. But by that point, it might be too late. And yeah, Jets on the other side is just finding 2 kills. I mean, they didn't even need to check it. Solo didn't really need to do much at all. He catches Zako off guard a little bit late in the round, and S-Stuck will finish things off. And yeah, these rounds are just not working for Disciples. And honestly, I think for the most part, they're not actually doing anything wrong. They are just hitting things. They're just getting outgunned. Rejects are literally outclassing them here in S&D.
Yeah, I think if Rejects went for an execution, it would probably like double the duration of the round. We're going to see another push over toward the A side right here. And once again, if you can manage to take out Solo in the top side, might be able to make something happen. And I think they should be able to catch him off guard. Oh my gosh, I thought he was going to lose the gunfight. They take him out right there. And now an opportunity for them to take a round. A has been cleared out. Bomb makes its way onto the objective, but somehow nobody is watching the bomb planter. Raballo takes him out for free. 2 players right here. Obey gets absolutely smoked, and 2 players remain here on this A side. S-Thug, I don't know how you do that one, but now all down to Zako.
Look, round potential here. Zako, 1 versus 2. These players are split as well, so if he finds 1, there wouldn't be an immediate trade. The problem is that I think S-Thug and Jez here are just in such good positions. They more or less seem like they know where Zako is positioned, and now they most certainly do, as S-Hug just seen him. And look at the weapons that they've got as well. As soon as Zako peeks out, he is dead to rights. S-Hug has even taken some water shots. Like, yeah, you want to come out, bud? Come on. Out you come. Jez is just laying down.
That is the weirdest angle.
Is he in the train, or is he
He's at like a 45-degree angle laying on the corner of the top of the train. Just goofing around, waiting for Zako to make a push right here. He's got 36 seconds, does hit some shots, but not going to be enough to pick up a kill. And Jez puts him out of his misery, as Rejects are looking to do the same for this map as a whole.
Yeah, just Disciples getting met here with some real ferocity from Rejects. And we're going to see an execution this round, I think. Just one execution from Rejects. Disciples getting aggressive here towards the terminal side. And finally, they get met with Raballo right off the start. Nice nade from Coldest in response. We are going trade for trade at the moment. Actually, numbers for the first time here in Search and Destroy in favor of Disciples. Jez, what does he have to say about that? Well, immediately here, going to melt down to the 1 versus 1. As Jez is unable to convert for a second, it's Solo versus Seiko. The former going to plant the bomb. Seiko now looking for the post plant. Solo, where does he go? Has the better weapon for the situation. Seiko, see you fudging later, buddy. Rejects 7-0 here in the Search and Destroy. I honestly feel like that might well be the single quickest Search and Destroy we have seen the entirety of the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Yeah, I mean, when you get an 11-second round, like you are setting world records for Search and Destroy speed right there. So Rejects didn't really look like Rejects in that one. My gosh, they were just on quite a different level from Disciples. And like you said, a lot of it was not necessarily issues with their approach. Like, they did a good job, especially when they moved toward the A site. You try to clear out the top side. If you can take out Solo like they did that one round,
yeah,
you put yourself in a good position, but nobody's watching over the bomb planter. He gets taken down and the round's pretty much chalk. So some little flashes of greatness for this Disciple squad, but definitely opportunities for them to learn. And once again, a lot of that just coming down to straight up gun skill.
Yeah, and also, to be fair, it was the consistency in which they were checking those things. I think Solo was up there 2 or 3 times on the defense, and you only check him 1 of those times, and the others you leave him in a power position that by the point of the round where it actually becomes a problem, it's too late, right? So yeah, just little things at the moment. I think honestly, though, there is only so much you can do when you are going up against one of the best Search and Destroy teams we have here, the best Search and Destroy team that we have here in North America. It's difficult for sure. So I don't want to put any blame on anybody there from Disciples. It's just a really unfortunate position to be in. So they're going to put that one to the back of their minds, because next up is going to be Control. Again, the headline for this one, at least it's not Raid. Crossroads, though, it is going to be really tough because we've seen what Rejects are capable of on this one. We saw it versus Mayhem, mate. I mean, these guys, they know how to play Crossroads.
Yep. Very, very strong performance out of them. But Coldest is going to be able to find first blood right there. PV finds one as well. And that's 3 kills off the start for Disciples. Not the start that we were expecting, as it looks like they're going to be able to lock in and take a progression over on A. Do finally have a response from Rejects right here as they equalize. Jez going to continue to control the mid-map from that lower angle, but they seem very content to give up some progress over there on the A side. We do finally see some of those trades start to come through, but Solo taken down as well. Strong start for Disciples.
What you want to see on the defense here is that spawn trap being set up by the team on D. Disciples are that at the moment, and they're doing a stellar job. Rejects now starting to push through. Oh, Jez getting aggressive as well. Rejects really putting the screws in to Disciples here. Disciples now starting to feel the pressure of the spawn trap. Raballo and Solo doing exactly that. Just one player on the point at the moment. Might be a second if Seiko joins in, which, to be fair, they might have a good chance at it. Kato, excuse me, is going to be a player that was on the point, and both of them getting shut down. And for the good start that we saw Disciples have, Rejects now really start to have found their groove here in this game. Oh my goodness me, Jez is making jump shots happen. You got 4-kill advantage at the moment. Disciples, with one unified push, could still grab the A point, though.
Jez looking like an eagle, just soaring through the sky. He's ferocious, he shows no mercy. Right now he's looking to clear off this A objective to make sure Disciples do not have any route to victory in this round. They do that. With only 4 lives remaining, no respawns, Reject should be able to handle business. Seems like communication may be a little bit lacking on that one, as Jez allowed to completely run through any of the remaining Disciples players. It's going to be Kato tucked away in the corner right here, but the information has been given, and in a 1v7, not much hope. That's Rejects taking the opening round, but Disciples, they fought back. That was probably their best display so far in the match. I don't even know what I said. If it was a pun, it wasn't intentional.
It's the way you've done it 3 times.
I literally don't even know.
Yes, you do.
No, wait.
You said they've got no hope.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
You were just doing it. You were just doing it naturally. Anyway, look, yeah, Rejects in that round, I think, had started off with some adversity to be found from Disciples, but it just quickly melted away like the ice here on this map.
I'm literally not even doing anything. Rabalo's going to be able to pick up 2 right there. Rejects hop in the objective. Playing control the old-fashioned way. No need for TDM. Kato's going to be able to pop the Sparrow right there. Takes down 1, but an unfortunate Hunter Killer flying down from above. They're able to lock in 2 ticks already, and S-Thug just so slippery on the inside of these buildings. Does get dealt with, but Solo's there to trade, and he's doing it in a mean way. Coldest over on the B objective. He will receive the brunt force of the R9 as well. Time and time again, these Disciples players are just getting hunted.
Yeah, look at the life differential at the moment. 10 kills the difference between these 2 teams. Now, Rejects really starting to feel themselves. They've already got control of A here. And now starting to capture B2. Coldest has whipped out the Annihilator on the other side. You're also seeing the claw being invested from PV, but the latter of those is down pretty quickly. Coldest has still got the Annihilator, actually going to swing wide to get the kill, and I think it actually is still in play. I thought for a second it might run out with how long it was before he finally got some value with it, but the damage might well be done here on early in this round, and now you're starting to see the investment coming out from Rejects as well to really hammer this one home. 14v6, Bobby. Yeah, this one is going to be difficult, even when you're seeing what the equalizers coming out from Zayko. This is a big investment from Disciples late in this round to try and save a round that already feels like it's gone.
Yeah, definitely could have found better value elsewhere, but at the same time, like, with the gap that we've got between these 2 teams, I think you got to capitalize on any potential round that you can find. Unfortunately, it does not convert right there. Coldest in a 1v8 right here, but Rejects have already hopped the point. He's just playing for streaks. And Rejects are playing for the win as they are 1 round away from closing things out and heading us to our final match of the day. See if Disciples can bring anything right here, but 2 operators charged up already for Rejects. And I've got a feeling they're going to be more aggressive than ever.
Yeah, Rejects hyper-aggressive at the start of this round. You're already seeing 3 kills. Oh my goodness me, what is that? Envy, off the start of this round, finds yet another kill. S-Thug with the Annihilator, picks up a couple of kills as well. Already the life disparity that we saw in the last round is there once again. 27 versus 22, only 3 kills to be found for Disciples so far, now make it 4. And Rejects here, just getting super duper aggressive, super annoying for the Disciples to deal with. I suppose the good news is, there technically isn't anybody over by A, so they can now start to put a capture together.
Yep, they're going to stack it heavily, but unfortunately S-Thug is there, 2 shut down immediately, and Solo continues to just patrol that mid-map position. Purifier is going to be able to take him down right there, but they're going to trade operators as on the opposite side. There's Jez picking up 2 to get things started. Still a good chunk of shots left, but he does get taken down by PV. Disciples only down 8 lives right here, but obviously time is of the essence. Only 30 seconds to work with. You got to get on the objective.
Yeah, time is just not on your side at all, is it? Solo having his way inside the garage. This feels like a foregone conclusion for sure. Disciples, what can you do? Nothing. 1 left alive. It's Zayko this time around. A 1 versus 14 is just not going to happen in any universe, is it? And a 3-0 for Rejects. Looking so good in this series. It was convincing. I think once they got past the hard point where maybe there was some resistance, the search and destroy was just so quick, and then the control as well was just ridiculous. I think we expected the control to go like that, though. I think that was the only map in the series where we were like, look, the control is just not going to be kind to them. But then the rest of the series, I think, was like, I think everything that we expected to see, maybe on the positive side for Disciples, just quickly fell away.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Honestly, I was like low-key impressed with the control for the Disciples because it wasn't like they were just getting straight mollywop spawn trap for the entire time, because that's something that we've seen happen for a lot of these teams. They held their own to a degree. A lot of it did, once again, just come down to gun skill difference. But for the most part, they were playing the objective well. They're making solid plays to try to control the map. And once again, you're just outgunned. And it shows on the scoreboard right there. But once again, Rejects handle business. They take the win right there, 24-8 for Envy, and they remain undefeated in the Snapdragon Pro Series.
We knew that they were going to be at the top of our leaderboard, regardless of, you know, how specific that was that Rejects are always one of our top squads, so they continue to solidify that, but they're not done for the day, okay? They might have just gotten the 3-0 now. They still have to have another match after this one. Now they're at 4-0, and this is what I was talking about before we got into that match. Disciples moves down. Mayhem 3-2, tied with Disciples at 3-2. Depending on what they have for their lineups for next week, we could continue to see a little bit of moving around their 3-3, 4-5 area. So that will be interesting. But we also do have Rejects versus Truly, and Truly is that 5th team on the bubble coming around the corner. So if they lose this, it's going to be a little dangerous here.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. You know, Truly coming up next versus Rejects, it's going to be a tough one. I think the thing is, at the start of the day, I posited it as Truly want to get past Mayhem first.
Sure.
Right? I think that was the big thing for me. Now they go up against Rejects, who are arguably a better squad. I think we're all on the same page that they're a better squad. And now they're definitely up against it. So it's like, if you couldn't beat Mayhem, what adaptations are you going to make versus arguably a better team in Rejects that would give you the win here? And I just don't know if there are any. It's going to be difficult for sure, especially given, you know, again, Rejects proficiency in hardpoint and proficiency, as we've mentioned time and time again, in Search and Destroy. So we'll see.
Well, we'll hash it out a little bit more when we come back, because it's time for another short break on our side of things so that we can let Rejects relax a little bit before we dive into the 3rd and final match of the day up against Truly. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true. Where everything you want can be yours. If and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them. But most of all,
all right, everyone, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series. It's almost time for us to get into our third and final match of Week 3 here in the Challenge Season 4 NA when it comes to Call of Duty Mobile. And to close things out today, it's going to be between Truly and Rejects. Now, we mentioned it a little bit before the break, just how important this matchup is for Truly, because Rejects are quite comfortable at the top of the table now. We'll take a look back at the leaderboard if you're just joining us so you get a visual representation of that, because this is one of those last opportunities for Truly to do something to keep them in the running in that fourth place bubble there, Bobby.
Yeah, they are definitely not in a place we expected them to be. With that being said, they've got a couple more matches coming up that should afford them an opportunity to make their way back into the playoff picture, but they're definitely in a very dangerously close position to being below 500, being at that 2-3 mark. They're going to have to really step up their game going up against Rejects because they were not on the level they need to be versus Mayhem.
Yeah, I will say they've still got Disciples, excuse me, haven't they, coming up next week, right? So that would be a really important matchup, I think, overall. If they lose this, and I don't want to lower the stakes, okay, I'm not doing that. It's still a pretty important matchup. If they lose this, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. It's not the end of the world. I think I was just told that they still have to go up against Disciples and Team NBA next week. So they still have a chance. Like you're saying, there's still an opportunity. They could still get some wins on the board. And then what it will boil down to is what the teams around them do.
Yep.
Obviously, Disciples being a big one in that because Disciples are currently above them on the leaderboard. So them being able to put the L in Disciples column will change that up. Once again, things are going to be jumbled. Week number 4 is going to be very important. And obviously, our teams won't remain undefeated in the last final week because that's when we'll finally get to see Seminole and Rejects go up against each other. I almost said
Really proud
L. I had to slow down and think about that one, but I didn't. We got through it. Good job. Go me. Seminole and Rejects. That's going to be a banger of a matchup, but a great way to close out the season.
No question about it. I mean, that's the way we closed it out last season, and it was far and away of all of the group stage matchups, that was the one to watch from any region. So I don't think anybody is disappointed that we're getting that in week number 4 once again, and they've led up to it perfectly once again. As just like last time, I don't know if Tribe were 0 maps lost heading into that one, but both teams were undefeated, and it was definitely a beauty to behold. So I'm looking forward to that one, no question. Obviously, Rejects still have to handle Truly here, but assuming that they can, should be a really fun one to watch. I mean, it's going to be fun either way, but
yeah,
you know,
it's going to be a great way to close out the day. We'll start getting those picks and bans up here on the screen as well, because I believe that those are ready. We'll start talking about this matchup here, starting off on Apocalypse.
Oh my, we haven't seen an Apocalypse. I don't know why my brain automatically associates Apocalypse with Kings versus Omniscient. That's like the first thing that pops into my head whenever I see an Apocalypse hardpoint, because they are so damn rare. I don't think we've seen these teams play it so far this season, I want to say. I don't think we've seen anything from either Truly or Rejects on Apocalypse, so that's going to be an interesting curveball and perhaps a way for Truly to get into the best of 5. The Hacienda, on the other hand, is a favorite for Rejects, so if it does end up going to map number 4, that's going to be a real difficult one for Truly.
I would agree with that. Like you said, we don't really ever see Apocalypse hardpoint, it feels like. I think even going back to the majority of the stats I had for stage 5, we didn't see Rejects play Apocalypse hardpoint a whole lot. So interesting to see it slip through right there. Potentially an opportunity for Truly to catch them off guard. And, you know, with the solid AR play that we've seen out of them, maybe an opportunity for them to make something happen. Obviously, we're still waiting on the Search and Destroy to come through, but I think there's no question that it's the hard points, like we said, going into their matchup up against Mayhem, got to be a must-win for this Truly squad, especially given how strong Rejects have looked in Search and Destroy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've got Express and Slums for the Search and Destroy, just looking kind of, again, back to the records for these teams. Slums is okay for Truly, to be honest. They've
played LG really close on it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, this is one where I think they'll be confident on. But again, it's about getting to the map number 5. I think that's going to be the difficult part of this one. If it was the map number 2, I think it would be a very different story. But the fact of the matter is it's not. And we've got Express. And that's where I think we have a little bit more question marks as to kind of what to expect from these teams. Certainly not from Rejects, we'll say that much, because we just saw them decimate Disciples on it. So.
And then we get the raid control. Normally, we would feel good about that for this Truly squad, but obviously they had a pretty big share of struggles going up against Mayhem. So they've got a tough task heading into that one. We've not seen Rejects a ton, at least against top teams on raid. So that may be a little bit of a question mark and potentially an open door for Truly to make something happen.
Yeah, the key thing for me, if we get to that map number 3, well, we are going to get to that map number 3. When we get to that map number 3, fix the mistakes you made versus Mayhem, because they could well have won that control and extended the series. I think it's just slight things like not stacking the point. Would have really changed their fortunes in that control. So I don't think this is a bad map set by any means, but I think the latter half of the map set might be a little bit better if Truly can kind of force it to that point.
All right, this will be a great way to close out the day, of course. If you haven't known, if you haven't seen it here discussed on the broadcast, this is all leading up to our Mobile Masters in Sao Paulo, Brazil. All of these teams trying to fight to get their way through. $200,000 on the line, by the way, for Mobile Masters. So make sure you check that out. If you're in the area and you can go, definitely go. It's going to be really, really cool. Very cool opportunity. That's what we've got, that QR code. You can just scan that so you can get your tickets and go see it live in person, because trust me, these tournaments are worth being there for. So now that we've reminded you to go to do that, hopefully we'll be able to see you in Brazil. But before we go to Brazil, I got to send these two to the other side of the studio so we can even get there. All right. Match number 3. Let's close today out.
I know the COD Mobile community in Brazil is absolutely diehard, so I think that has the potential to be the craziest LAN event that COD Mobile has seen. I am definitely looking forward to that one and meeting all the fans.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be really fun to be in Brazil for Masters. Obviously, you know, we've got some of the top teams going head-to-head as well. It's going to kind of be like a redux of Stage 5 finals to see kind of what's going down over there. We've got the big story of East versus West. And yeah, all right, East is currently better than the West. We don't need to keep on going on about it, guys. But maybe that will change, because the amount of work that we're seeing the Western teams put in here, both in Europe and North America, I think is actually quite indicative of potential change of the winds again.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to the teams that make it through as well. I know that Wolves have already been eliminated from Masters, so the fact that they're not going to be there is a huge opening for the rest of those Western teams.
Oh, boy.
And we're going to hit a little bit of a reset right here. So we'll go back to talking about Sao Paulo. One other thing that's super notable is the fact that Galoris did not make it through for LATAM. Obviously, they're playing in LATAM Masters right now and are undefeated once again. Now, with that being said, they were undefeated through the entirety of the challenge season last time around, right, and then they got double 3-0'd out of the playoffs. They're a really good team. I don't think it's going to happen again. If it does happen again, I don't really know what to make of it. But they've got challengers, but they have also got a lot of supporters in Brazil as well. So if they do make it through, I'm sure the crowds are going to be extra insane.
Yeah, it would be cool, I think, to see that representation out there once again. And considering we didn't get it at finals, it would be nice to see. But who knows at this point? I think that we still don't really know 100% what's going to happen. We have our inklings, right? We kind of, you know, we know what teams we expect to see, at least in the challenge finals from each region here, Europe and North America. But past that point, honestly, there are a lot of question marks, because we look at Europe, for example, and we're like, are Omniscient good enough to take exclusive, for example, right? Can they take down Kings? Because they took them to a map number 5 last time around, and they should have won in 4. So there's a question over there. Here in North America, you've got 3 teams that, yeah, right now it feels like Seminole are number 1, but with some slight changes, maybe Mayhem or Rejects could take one of those 2 spots away. You know, maybe Truly can kick things up a notch as we get into potential playoffs. Maybe Disciples can come out and, you know, if they beat Truly, if they make it into playoffs, maybe they can change things as well. So there's still a lot, I think, in the air at the moment ahead of playoffs. I don't think anything is decided by any means, but I think certainly we are now at a point where we have a very clear picture as to who the top teams here in each region are.
Yeah, no question about it. Obviously, the number of spots that each region gets is going to play a big role as well, because for North America and for LATAM, you've got 2 spots apiece, but for the rest of the world, everybody's battling it out for that #1 spot. So that's going to put that much more importance on our grand finals, which I'm excited for as well for each of the regions. Looks like we're finally good to go. It is going to be Rejects on the strong side to start, which would make you presume that this is the truly map pick. So we'll see what they can do. Rabalo is going to go cliffside. And interestingly enough, it looks like Truly are actually going to head through bottom of P1 right here. So instead of the usual wrap through Temple, they're actually going to try to flood and see what they can make of it. Unfortunately, it will get shut down by Jets.
I think the thing is here for Rejects, you already mentioned it very briefly there, didn't you, mate, that Rejects are on the better side of the map here, so as long as they stay on that side of the 50-yard line, they should be okay for a solid rotation and a potential full 60 over towards next. But you don't want to give away all the time towards Truly. You haven't done that so far. The vast majority of the kills starting to go in your favor, but got to be careful about some players that might be trying to leak through towards next. One has already done that, but Yawn, instead of actually challenging for the spawns here, I was going to say he goes straight towards the middle of the map, and that might be a mistake, but he immediately converts for a second on towards Jez, and now there is some presence over towards Nu. Not quite enough to block the spawns just yet, and you need a little bit of help for Jez. That doesn't happen, and I do almost feel like to a certain extent maybe Jez might have been better off just trying to chow for the spawns all the way around the backline. Nonetheless though, Truly keeping things even here in P1. They are just about in the lead, but that will change as Rejects now going to touch P2.
They've got to deal with Envy on that nasty Temple heady right here. Very difficult gunfights. He's going to be able to win the opener. Gets away with his life. Codeine hopping up. Bit of a slow start for him, but he's going to look to get going as Hex is going to try to push through the front side. This is not one that you're going to find a whole lot of success with, at least assuming you're going up against a semi-competent team. And there is no question we could say that about Rejects. So they're locked in right here, trying to see if they can find their first full 60 of this hardpoint competition. Solo continues to roam the map, continues to leave those Truly players guessing, and it looks like they found at least the opening right here. As one more gets dealt with, they may very well be able to push all the way through, but they've got to deal with those final Rejects players on the backside. Not going to be able to flip spawns. Not much hope for Truly trying to break through this way.
Yeah, and Rejects already have players through towards the rotation as well, and the spawns flip at the complete wrong time.
Yeah.
For Truly. This is the thing, it's hardpoint fundamentals. When you hit the last 20 seconds of a hill, and I know that's maybe slightly less, like 15 seconds or so, right? Considering you've got kind of that 8-second grace period between hills here in COD Mobile. Stop hitting it, because you are just going to mess things up for yourselves in the rotation, and that is more or less exactly what has happened here, as Rejects will be the first team to touch over by Nu, and Truly are going to have to fight from the back foot once again on rotation for the second time here on Apocalypse. Kills starting to go in favor of Rejects already. They've got a couple of operators in the back pocket if they want to use it. Now make it 3 as Jez hits it 2. Rabalo just looking down long. He's finally going to get shut down by Haxes, who does actually pick up a second kill as well. Truly now on their way. It feels like Rejects starting to feel the heat a little bit. Decide now this is the time to use some of those operators. The Sparrow doesn't actually come up that much. Rabalo's War Machine, though, is finding some serious value. He's already picked up a couple of kills. Solo walked past one player. That player is going to be Haxes, who has the Purifier. Does some serious damage before being shut down. But for the most part, this has all been Rejects here on this hill. If you walk away with a 40-20 split in your favor, you are very happy with that if you're Rejects, considering you still got the rotation towards Nu.
And they're still going to be able to clear Truly off the hard point for a little bit more time, so the advantage on that hard point starts to skew even a little more. Envy has eyes onto Codeine right there. Not going to be able to find the kill, but Jez, once again, flying like an eagle, able to pick up another. Codeine's got to do some work right here, but he gets shut down. Now it's all up to Yawn. S-Thug. What?
Well, just the investment from the Annihilator. It was a big investment coming out from the Annihilator. To find a couple of kills was pretty big there. But regardless, it is not going to be enough to send Truly packing just yet. Truly now inside the hard point. It's time for Codeine to use the equalizers here in this scenario, and he's starting to take some of these players down, pre-firing on towards a kill that isn't quite there just yet. They know where Rejects are spawning, so this is pretty good control of this hill from Truly. Codeine now looking to do some more damage here with these equalizers. They are the longest operator we have here in Call of Duty Mobile. Now looking for some more space. Now the backstop for the squad. He's picking up a couple of kills. Truly here, this has been an excellent hard point from them, considering they take time away that Rejects really should have had.
And Hacks just spraying and praying right now. He's going to be able to pick up a couple more, and this is very, very close to a tie game. If they can manage to flip out for those temple spawns, they may have an opportunity to take this one into their hands, but unfortunately all the players are left spawning at the bottom side of the map, and it's going to be a full reset once again for Truly. Despite a slow start to this one, are able to reel it back in. Forsaken's going to be able to pick up a two-piece right there. He's sitting on 18 kills so far, and a big, big reason why Truly have been able to have the success that they had through the smoke and other connects, not able to find the final kill, but keeping the Rejects distracted for the time being, as his teammates will be able to pick up that hard point time.
Yeah, very close hard point right now between these two teams, as you'd expect. To be fair to Truly, they've managed to make things even in the face of the adversity of which they faced. Obviously, Rejects having the better go of things on P1 or P2 rotation, most definitely. And now Truly looking for control of this game. They've got 3 players towards that temple side. Rejects got a couple of spawns in, though, towards P1. Truly might well be getting this time, but they don't have a convincing set of rotational battles just yet. Envy's going to find the double, though, and hold on for a second. This still might be Rejects. Do they know about Solo?
Both teams are spawning on the inside or right outside of Temple, and those are still going to be beneficial spawns for Truly. So they flood on through. Hunter Killer's not going to be able to connect right there, and they do get those strong side spawns. One player left to try to do some damage, but Envy gets shut down, and Truly get blessed by the COD Mobile gods right there, as that's going to give them that topside control. They've got to make sure they have somebody in that anchor position, but fortunately for them, one will spawn in directly behind Solo. They get the information and should have an opportunity here where they can take the lead if they get people on point.
Yeah, Raballo going to come out with a two-piece there with the War Machine. When he gets shut down directly after that, now it's time to invest the Claw as well. If you're Envy, how much can he get done through the little post box? Nothing to be found, really. But on the other side, you've got Forsaken, who combines for 3 alongside Yawn, who gets himself a double. Truly are doing a splendid job at the moment of defending this hard point. 15 seconds left now. There's not much point anymore if you're Rejects of investing any more into this. Rogue Spawn coming out from Solo might well disrupt things for the rotation towards Nu, but for the first time in this game, Truly have a realistic advantage over Rejects here.
They're looking phenomenal right now, as Rejects did not have a response once those spawns flipped, and Truly finding some of these rotational kills as well, so Raballo's got to go big. He's not going to be able to find Forsaken. Now it's going to be Rejects spawning on that Temple side. And for the time being, Truly have players in the area, but Jez going to be able to shut them down, immediately trade it out as Truly fill up the feed once again. Solo's got to be dealt with right here, but Space is going to be able to do the damage, and they're locking in hard point time again, but the equalizer comes out for Solo, and that's a full wipe for him.
Such a back and forth game. Rejects last time around got a 40-20 split off the back of this hard point. They want the same thing again, if not a little bit better. And Solo still going with these equalizers well. The Hunter Killer drone doesn't actually get much at all for Rejects, but Solo's equalizers will. And now these equalizers could be pivotal for the rotation towards Nu as well. Decides to get a little bit greedy through the chicken coop and goes for an extra kill he probably should have done instead of rotating over towards Nu. But that's okay for Rejects. They've actually got numbers here already. Jez has made his way in toward Deuces around the back line. If he could find one kill, maybe it would be huge, but no, he gets shut down, and now up towards Envy, towards this hill, who manages to find 2 as well. Rejects in a great position to start taking this game away from Truly.
And Envy single-handedly holding things down right there. The Rejects push forward, but nobody's sitting on the hard point. They're getting the kills right here, but not reaping the rewards. Finally, they get things completely cleared out over here on P4. They have an opportunity, but the Pred drops from above, and that's 2, maybe 3 for Codeine right there. Just like that, an opportunity for Truly to get back into the hard point. Raballo doing everything he can to keep things locked down for the Rejects. A 5 spree does finally end, but Truly make their way back in regardless, and Forsaken seeing what damage he can do with the War Machine in hand.
Yeah, we often talk about the Predator missiles from teams maybe not being the best. That was a great one coming out from Coding. Now Raballo finding 2 with the War Machine, but no more than that. Forsaken has one to fight back with as well on the other side, but he then therefore gets shut down. This has been such a back and forth game between these two teams, and decision making has made the slightest difference in terms of all the utilization we've seen from the score streaks, from the operators. Anything opening could make the difference between these two teams at the moment. Truly are just 20 points or so in the lead as we go into the third and final set of rotations here, Bobby.
Obviously, you want to pick up the hard point time, but number one priority, once again, has got to be those temple spawns. Truly, one player's going to be able to slip on through. He's actually going to go cliffs and not going to capitalize on that positioning. So I believe it's going to be Hex who gets shut down right there. That's going to afford Rejects the hard point, and it will get them those spawns as well. Missed opportunity out of Truly, as it looks like Rejects going to be able to get right back into that lead, but one player spawns the backside. That's going to be Codeine. Not in an anchor position, but he takes one player down, and that should be spawns the top side, and there it is for Truly.
It is spawns. Rejects now spawning out, and oh my goodness me, what are the COD gods on today? Truly now getting those backside spawns. Under pressure is Esther going to pick up 2. Is that the opening perhaps that Rejects will need? And now the spawns again. What? Hello? What is going on? Esther does quickly get dispatched with, though. Solo, now the next one to try around the backline, but Yorn having absolutely none of the COD gods nonsense here. He is dealing with every single player that dares step foot in his domain, and now Rejects are getting swiftly dealt with in the middle of the map. They are being pieced up at the moment by Space, who wants revenge on his former team, and Space is getting it at the moment. Truly now fighting back.
This would be the ultimate revenge match, and honestly a storyline that I wish we talked about a little bit more coming into this one, but both Forsaken and Space, former Tribe players going up against the former Tribe roster, looking to prove something right here. Jez going to be able to take down one. Gone looking for the trade. He's not going to be able to find it, and Rejects, even though they don't have those strong side spawns, are going to be able to clear things out. They will be able to hop the hard point right here as they extend out the lead even further. Solo, so difficult to deal with that equalizer in hand. Ridiculous duration on that. The final player is shut down. The spawns have completely flipped out, and if you're Truly, no reason to keep fighting here.
Yeah, don't go for this anymore. Rejects, they can't finish here regardless, so you need to go over towards New and now have a perfect hardpoint performance from here on out. That is a lot to ask for, I know, especially when Solo is on the prowl with the equalizer. It runs out at the complete wrong time. That is really unfortunate COD time in there. Right as he gets himself involved in an engagement, the equalizers, they go away. And now Truly, with Rejects just 3 seconds shy of victory, they have to have a perfect hold. Jez and Envy have already opened up proceedings with some kills. They're in now. Rejects looking to close things out. Nobody from Truly can touch in time. And Rejects get it done in the end, but that, my oh my, that was an incredibly close hardpoint between these two teams. Truly felt like they almost had it.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and I think especially once you get that temple flip, should have had the opportunity to lock in at least 40 seconds there on P2, but you got to give credit to Rejects. They do a phenomenal job of fighting for their spawns. Once again, the RNG maybe playing a little bit of role on the way that some of those spawns happen to fly in and benefited both teams at different times. Definitely a battle, though. Got to credit Space and Forsaken going up against their former team, top fragging by a pretty sizable margin. They put up a phenomenal fight right there, but now they got to head into a search and destroy where this Rejects team has looked, for the most part, unbeatable.
Yeah, that was a big, big map overall. And to be fair, I think, you know, it's a map that, generally speaking, when you took a kind of just purely the records, you expect Rejects to win anyway, just because of their hardpoint dominance. 12-2 last season in the game mode. They only lost 2 hardpoint maps across the entirety of the challenge season. This time around, Truly decided to throw a curveball, and I think that was the key thing for me was the Apocalypse pick. I think you said, right, it was very obvious from the side spawns that we saw from Rejects that it was indeed a Truly pick, and what a great pick it was. And this is something we do not see often enough here in the challenge season, is we don't see teams throwing curveballs in towards the veto process to try and outplay their opponents before they've even got to the match. And fair play to Truly, they almost make it work, but just that clutch potential from Rejects right towards the end, that was where the difference was truly felt. At this point, that was the moment where I felt like Truly were about to come back in and really start to take the lead. But as soon as that final break comes through from Rejects, that was the moment that it was over.
Yep. Phenomenal attempt out of that squad. Raballo 41-33 as the OBJ guy, once again, been putting in work, and it is showing big time as Rejects maintain their undefeated streak. And they'll continue to look to do so as we do get ready to head into the search and destroy. Like we've said, arguably the best search and destroy team in North America. That's a title that we've been used to giving to LG, or at least former LG, now known as Seminole. But Rejects have definitely, with this rebuilt roster, looked a lot stronger. And it's especially with the struggles that we saw for Truly on that meltdown. They've definitely got to regain. I don't think you even have to regain off of the Apocalypse hardpoint. I think they looked really good right there, but the S&D is where the changes have to be found.
I will admit, I think this is one of those cases where maybe the statistics don't actually tell the entire story, because if you were to now look at the differential for a team like Truly, it probably wouldn't actually be that kind because of that 1-7 loss versus Mayhem earlier on today. But you actually go back and watch that 1-7 loss, and there were a number of rounds in which Mayhem just outplayed them. It's not like Truly did anything wrong per se, or even that they got outgunned. It was just most of the time, Mayhem's adaptations were insane, well above par, well above what you would normally expect from a team here in the challenge season. So fair play to them, but for Truly, they just felt kind of out of depth. When it goes up against Rejects, though, this is an entirely different kettle of fish, because Rejects, I mean, I already talked about how statistically they were the best team here in North America by far just because of the differential. They just got a 7-0. What does that differential look like now? I mean, it's just like less than 1 round per team. It is insane. You never see that, ever. That kind of consistency is nuts.
No question about it. Truly seeming a little bit more confident now that they've been able to, you know, take a match off, get a little mental reset. It seems like this is the squad that they do want to have as their main 5. And if there was going to be a time to, you know, make a substitution, it would be between matches. These are 2 crucial matches. But Coding, solid consistency here, so we'll see if he can step things up. He did have a slow search and destroy when they were playing up against Mayhem, and especially when you haven't been in regular rotation for a map that is so knowledge intensive, or a mode that is so knowledge intensive. Yeah. That can be difficult. But Express, we already saw 1 speed run today. Truly are going to look to avoid it here up against the Rejects.
Look, at least we didn't see any train kills today, which we have seen in the past.
I don't know if there's enough time for the train to even enter the map.
Possibly not with how fast that map was, but hey, look, hopefully more competitive go around here this time. Rejects, though, don't look like they've got that much resistance to talk about when they make their way over towards A. As a matter of fact, S-Thug even giving his teammate a look. Perhaps he'd take him out, but no, not to be. Codeine already down for the count here as the bomb now going to be down, and Truly have to kind of scramble for the retake. Yawn is going to make things a little bit easier, as is Space. Numbers now in Truly's favor, but great positioning coming out from Jez makes this now a 3 versus 3, 30 seconds on the clock.
Rabal on the top side, still yet to be dealt with. Hex, no angle to work with right here. He's going to look to lurk through Train, and there's Jez picking up another. So with that, it's down to 1 remaining Truly player, but it's Space on the top side. Him against Jez, not a whole lot of time to work with. Space has got to make quick work of it. Jez has played this to perfection. Space hopping up top. He's got to find the kill here, and he's not going to be able to. Jez cleans up the round for the Rejects.
Good effort from Space there in that 1 versus 1, trying to bait off the bomb, which you see so many people do, of course, with the noise of the plant, or the defuse, excuse me. But it's not to be. Rejects going to come out on top in round number 1. On the offense, they still remain now, and it's going to be the exact same look coming out from them. Straight aggression towards A. I'm curious if any adaptations happen from Truly, because we did see them make him all the way back against Mayhem in the first game of the day. And we are seeing them here. We're seeing Haxis now given a very aggressive look over towards the A site, as is Forsaken. He's not on top of the train, though. He's actually just peeking out through it, and that means he's not got the angle to stop this plant from Rebalo.
Trophy's going to catch 1 nade right there. Truly looking to get aggressive as Hax is pushed up. Jez on Overwatch to find anybody making their way through, and communication should be there, so S-Thug should be able to pick up the kill. Hasn't gone through quite yet, and some crazy COD timing is going to allow 1 through, but there's Jez hunting him down. Solo's able to find another one on top of the train, but that's going to be Coding. Trades are there, though. Space up top, trying to clear things out. 2v2, 16 seconds on the clock. What can they make of it? They've got to go quick, and unfortunately, Solo's on the bottom side with an R9 in hand. Space is shut down. 1-for-1 trades, but he's got to find the kill right now, and unfortunately for him, nobody in sight. It's going to be S-Thug avoiding the defuse, and once again, beautiful shots out of the sky as Rejects take 2 rounds in a row.
It is crazy how many of these rounds are coming down. Well, I say how many of the rounds. Both of the rounds are coming down to a 1 versus 1 off the exact same plant positioning. Truly make adaptations this time around, but it doesn't make a difference. And now Rejects decide, after Truly have adapted to it, they're going to give it a different look. Straight towards B they go, 5 hit. Needs to see a quick response from Truly. They've lost both of the players on the site. Solo running through him at the moment, looking for the melee kill against Forsaken. Forsaken going to punish with a quick scope, but the bomb now going to be down.
Space has an angle to work with. Will he find the timing? And he gives away his location. That should be an easy kill, but he's able to punish Envy. Second quick scope doesn't connect, but Hex has an opportunity to 1v2 right here. Unfortunately for him, S-Thug reads it, and once again, coming down to splitting hairs at the ends of these rounds, but Rejects making the better reads in each of these scenarios.
It feels so reminiscent of that first game versus Mayhem earlier on today, where Truly aren't doing anything wrong. They are just getting outplayed by the strategy calls from Rejects, and here we go again. Strat towards A. Truly don't know whether they're coming or going. Turns out they are deep hitting towards this A site. Haxis trying to outplay Rejects, but he gets overwhelmed. That's 3 different players he had a look at, and well, that is just too many for Haxis to deal with. So already Truly 1 man down, but 1 player potentially on the flank here. Yawn will actually pick up a kill, and I think the important thing for Yawn is actually escaping from the back of this as well. You don't just want to get immediately traded out, and that advantage going down the drain, and that's exactly what's going to happen as Jez is going to take him down.
Once again, the tough spot on the back side of the bomb site. Bomb has been retrieved right here for Rejects, and Envy's on Overwatch as they look to make their exit potential wrap back toward that B side. Big gunfight on the back side. It's actually not going to be a gunfight. Jez will do the deed with boxing gloves in hand. And just like that, 2 players remaining. That's going to be Cody and taking a shotgun to the face, and now all down to Forsaken. No angles for him, unfortunately. And Envy handles business on the back end of that one as once again, Rejects extend out the lead even further.
And once again, Truly, they have a response. It's just the execution where maybe it just isn't 100% there. This has been a stellar search and destroy from Rejects thus far, and everybody is contributing 4 or 5 kills for everybody besides Envy on the squad. On the other side, Truly are being quietened down quite significantly. Back towards A they go once again. Rejects, do they see the same kind of aggressive push coming out from Truly? Not from Haxis off the start this time. It's 3 players alongside that A lane, and 1 going over the top of the train, I think. It's actually Haxis trying to make his way down towards the site, and yeah, that weird positioning from Haxis is actually going to catch a couple of players off guard, and finally, for the first time in this search and destroy, Truly managed to catch Rejects off guard.
Phenomenal start for them. The bomb is dropped as well. They should have that information. So with 1 player still in that top side in Envy, they'll look to find a pick right here. Jez on the flank, but he gets spotted out. And that's perfect for Truly right here as they get all the information they could possibly need. They know flank is completely covered. 1 player out of position and still bomb is down. There's a minute to work with. Very heavily banking on Envy to find an opener right here with that sniper in hand.
If anything, to be honest with you, I kind of feel like it's going to be Jez that does something in this round. He's the one with the most propensity to do something. Perhaps find a route in behind, but has to be cautious with it. Has to have some good trigger discipline, and well, Jez is finally going to get to do it. I talked about it right. He's going to find the first blood, and the 1 versus 1 inside terminal is going to go the way of S-Thug. So all of a sudden, this 4 versus 3 for Truly turns into a 2 versus 3. You've lost a couple of players. Jez now trying to make the situation worse again, and oh my goodness me, this round has completely fallen apart for Truly. Forsaken now for the 1v3, and it's the trade! Oh no, come on!
I heard it!
You hear it just before it hits. Stop walking on train tracks, people. It's not good.
Oh man, unfortunate right there. Train strikes again. And Rejects now on 12 rounds in a row on Express Search and Destroy. As comfortable as can be, they're trying to push all the way up toward the opposing spawn. It will be Cody and trading out 1. Should be an easy trade for Solo right here. And he gets actually too aggressive, but second shots will be able to connect. S-Thug pushing up, but he gets shut down, and now all down to Solo. As Truly looking to find their first round here in the Search and Destroy. Solo going to look to wrap back toward B. Should be able to retrieve the bomb. But that should be the necessary information for Truly. He's just going to stay tucked away right here and see if he can find a pick.
I love this from Truly. They're just playing like Snake. They're so closely together. There is no way, even if they cross paths with Solo here, that Solo does get away with this. There is no way. All right, Solo now going for the peak. R9 in hand. Oh my God, no, they run away at the wrong time. And all of a sudden, the snake's lost its legs. Does snakes have legs? Like mini legs? I don't
definitely do not.
Its tail. That's what I meant to say. Regardless, Solo has now put this 1 versus 3 into a 1v2.
Snake.
The bomb has been planted.
I hate it when the snake loses its legs. It's the worst.
It does happen, I promise.
All right, well, he's got a nice little cheeky spot right here where the R9 should be very, very useful. Truly very slow on the retake, but looks like they'll have angles to pinch as Yawn's up top, Hex hopping through mid. They're being really cautious right here, but at some point you have to start getting aggressive. Train makes another run through the map, and what do you know, an opportunity for Solo as he's able to take down one. 1v3 is very, very possible. He's trying to play time right now. He doesn't even want the kill. He's gonna go ahead and wrap away.
Oh
Shotgun connects right there, and the 1v3 goes through for Solo.
Ready up.
How are you letting that happen?
Oh.
What was it, 4 versus 3 in the last round, and now the 3 versus 1? You're chuckling rounds if you're truly, and to be fair, I think we've got attributed to rejects for the most part. Their clutch potential at the moment is sky high, truly. Oh jeez, out of their depth. And now straight towards the B site they go. Forsaken is gonna find the double here, so numbers are gonna immediately go in favor of Truly, but we've been here before, I ain't saying anything.
And there he is. Man strikes again. Solo picks up one right there, picks up a sniper as well. Not something we see him do very often, but you know he's more than capable. 2v2 it is bomb in hand for Truly. Just a question of what direction they want to take it. B. Completely free is, it looks like rejects are more than content to give up the plant, play for the retake right here. Play their positions, Envy. AR in hand, Solo picking up that sniper, and it's really all on to Truly to make the opening play here.
And I think at this point, to be honest, I think Envy and Solo are banking on Truly getting antsy and trying to find the kills before getting the bomb down, but Truly aren't going to fall into the trap. So now Envy and Solo have to make the next move. Does Envy get some good timing on towards Coding? Coding for the check. It's all about timing here. Coding going to fire first and wins the fight. And now Solo is not, well, I was going to say he wasn't well positioned for this whatsoever with the R9 in hand, but he had the Locust in the back pocket and does not win that one. So for the first time here in S&D, Truly going to take a round from rejects. Hopefully this is the start of something special.
Maybe the flip of sides, exactly what they needed. Maybe a little more confidence over here on the offense. We'll see what they can throw at that A-bomb site. You're going to have to deal with Solo in the top side of this building. And I can tell you for certain that that is not going to be a fun experience. He should have been able to find one right there, but he gets shut down, and that's the opening that Truly are looking for. Pretty much the sole defense over on A, but a very fast flank right here as 3 players are ready to go for this reject squad. That's going to be Jez picking up one right there. Codeine still in the top side of that A-side building. He's going to continue to patrol, and my gosh, what a spot for space. Should be able to see the majority of the map and very few angles that he can get spotted out from, but question is, will the rest of the teammates be able to win their gunfights?
Yeah, Jez coming on the flag though, so Space has to be careful that Jez doesn't take him down here in the situation. They're stuck in a Ravallo. Double camping in a corner. That fight in the backline, by the way, still hasn't happened yet. So these individual 1v1s, Jez going to go down to Space, and yeah, now Rejects just left up to Ravallo here of the 1v2. Also has to get the defuse. I don't know if there's time for it, to be honest with you. He's not even going to try and bait out the bomb. Just going to go straight for the snipe, or straight for the kill versus Space. And Space goes for the slide and snipe. It's another round, Truly.
A little confidence builder right there as they start to get going. Offense definitely looking much stronger as they've been able to dictate the pace of the game, and when they've been able to deal with Solo, if you can get the bomb down over on that A side, should open up opportunities. He's going to take a different route this time, sit back, play things a little bit more passive, send some utility across, and not going to be able to find a kill, but remains alive, keeps tucked away in this position, and once again, going to make life difficult for Truly.
Oh, Jesus. Space might well have the sniper rifle. Jez has shown him who's boss, though. Not on this family anymore.
Smoke out.
Nice check. Solo with a better weapon for the scenario. That's really unfortunate. Fair play for Forsaken, to be honest, to even check the position. But Solo just going to outgun him with a better weaponry for the situation. Now numbers for Rejects, even more so now as Haxis is going to go down. And the problem is Haxis was the bomb carrier. So that bomb is now pushed very far forward. It's going to force Yawn and Codeine out of position.
Right now, they're left guessing. Envy's just going to continue to get info from this backside. And they're going to actually look to wrap all the way back toward the other side. They've got 52 seconds to work with and may very well be able to catch them off guard. But if they try to make their way through the top side, Jez going to be able to read it. Should be able to get audio cues if anybody moves a bit too fast. But for the most part, it looks like the timing is going their way. If they can win the opening gunfights, there might be an opportunity. And with Codeine taking down Roballo right there, should have an avenue to pick up the bomb. Nobody in the area, but you only got 25 seconds to work with. You got to go.
Yeah, you might have taken one down, but as you said, mate, that bomb is the biggest problem, and they just don't know that they're safe and going to grab it. And now, I mean, they know that they aren't, because Envy is still over here, train through the middle of the map. So what is going on with the train at the moment? Is the bomb stuck?
Oh, no.
That is so unfortunate. The bomb is stuck inside the train. Yawn is quite literally stuck doing nothing, and as is Codeine there. So around the, I mean, maybe could have gone their way. To be fair, by the time they actually got to the bomb, there wasn't really that much of a chance to get it down anyway.
Yep.
So it doesn't really matter in the end, but it's still got to be first effort shot. You're like, hey, guys, we can try and do something here in the closing moments of the round. And then you can't.
I've been playing COD Mobile for 4.5 years, and I have never seen that happen on any map. That is actually crazy. I guess like a small crevice that the bomb can just drop into. And unfortunately for Truly, it happens at the worst time possible. Started to build a little bit of momentum there in the search and destroy, but not going to be able to capitalize on it as Rejects do handle business there. Train handles business up against Forsaken as it's gotten more kills in the Snapdragon Pro Series than I have.
What do you mean? You're not playing?
Well, I know, but it's still impressive. He's not playing either. He's just doing his job. Same as me.
Just the implication that a train driver's job is to run people over. If you're on Express, the train driver's going to speed up. Oh, Bobby. Okay. All right, look. Rejects, I think, just outplayed him there time and time again. I think there were a couple of rounds maybe early on where Truly felt like they had some kind of advantage, but then Rejects just clutched them up. It was, what, a 4 versus 3 scenario where Truly felt like they'd finally had some control on the defense, and that went awry. And then that 1 versus, was it Solo or Jez in the 1 versus 3? I can't remember now, but it was a 1 versus 3. Yeah, Solo for the 1v3, because he had the R9. And that was really just unfortunate, because the first kill shouldn't have happened. The only reason it did was because they were snaking away. I still can't believe I said snake for legs. They were snaking away and literally just chose to turn around at the wrong time. It was just so unfortunate. We do just say the silliest things.
We do. You know,
it just happens.
There was something else you said. I can't remember. It was something about a cookie, but it was the way the cookie falls. I was like,
the way the cookie, I think I might have been going for the way the cookie crumbles, and I just didn't do that in the end. Maybe that's like a Britishism. Can I blame it on my Britishness?
Yes, you absolutely can, because I do.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's like just the way you explain away anything bad that I say. Is British. You just got to deal with it. Yeah. Rejects, though, winning the search and destroy, not really a surprise. Truly, though, now going to be up against it because now they have to reverse sweep a Reject squad that feel like they're definitely on form. We go into control next up, and this is going to be, I think, really difficult because Rejects have looked so solid in control. I mean, it was only one controller got so. We saw the Crossroads strike 3-0 that they just had over Disciples, and that was dominant. Here on Raid, though, we need to see Truly make improvements from what we saw in that very first series of the day, where Truly just did not capitalize on what they were given, what they'd earned. Has to be better here on this offensive effort, and I love this. Right out of the gate, straight towards A. Truly here on the, it's because they switched sides. Truly here on the defense. Are they ready for it though? Rejects getting aggressive. Here we go. They've already got the first wave of gunfights in their favor. I love this look from Rejects.
They get the nades into money room to clear out a little bit of space. Roballo's going to be there over on that blockheady. Just like that, they have already got some ticks of progress locked in over on A. Envy doing some damage through the smoke, locks in one. Locks in that tick of progression, and unfortunately, Solo does not get spotted right there for the Truly player trying to push on through, and now it's all going to be down to space. Quickscope's not connecting onto a Solo that is not looking his direction. And just like that, A has been completely captured, and you see that progress on B already getting locked in.
Yeah, nobody from Truly was there on the driveway to transition over towards B, so Rejects already get a good look at this. Fortunately enough, though, for Truly, they have already dealt with a first wave of gunfights. They do have to be careful about what follows, because Rejects still have a couple of players hanging about from that A capture, and they're coming through the middle of the map. Perhaps a little late flank from Coding could take them down, but Coding actually gets shut down. And now the Rejects here have a good look. They want to bunch up through Art to try and make their way on towards the point. Estag and Envy going to get shut down. Raballo the only one to find any value at this point in time. I believe he is still alive in the play. Solo is the player on the point though, and Rejects here getting close spawns towards this point. They are continually spawning up, getting their way on towards the point, and to be fair, they are getting mowed down. Nothing convincing just yet.
And right now, both teams getting close spawns is right behind Top Laundry that Truly are spawning as well. Neither team trying to do much to influence those, and they're just really butting heads and hoping they can win the better of the TDM. And right now, it's going better for Truly. Finally, we see Solo trying to hit a little bit of a flank right here. You've got a minute and a half to work with. The fact that this is the first time you've made an attempt like this, maybe slightly concerning, but you get two players wrapped on through. It looks like Truly are going to make the read right here. And with Solo getting all the way pushed through, it seemed like an opportunity, but Yawn there immediately to shut him down. Raballo's going to be able to read one in the top side. That's going to be Hex, but still down 3 lives.
Yeah, Rejects now trying to put together a flank. They've also got to be careful about where the players are spawning, because the positioning of Jez means that Truly are going to be spawning out towards basketball side, and they have to go hunting for those kills before they can convincingly move forward. And that is awkward. I think they probably should have just committed instead of looking for this one kill against Haxis, because he's just wasting time and perhaps lies if he managed to get one frag. Yeah, Haxis is going to go with that kill. Honestly, I think I'd have preferred the look from Rejects if they would have just committed to the flank through Laundry, because now they're one man down. 4 versus 7. We won't see Jez until round number 2 now. Truly have control. It's going to be Codeine here sitting in the corner, bit of a weird position. I don't think Rejects are necessarily going to expect this one, but Estag does open proceedings up here with a kill towards that jungle side. He is very far removed from the play entirely, and now we're in a 2 versus 5 here. Rejects 25 seconds left, and yeah, they are not in the positions to do this.
3v6, Raballo pulls out the war machine right there, maybe a little overzealous. We do see the opposite, or actually the same from Forsaken as well, but in much more of a position to close out the round. Looks like they're going to be able to capitalize. I don't anticipate we'll see Estag pulling out his operator right here. Not trying to waste any additional lives, get some additional charge on the operator as well. And it's Truly taking the opening round, so definitely a solid start for them, especially to be able to make it happen on the defense.
Yeah, I gotta say, Rejects there. I think, as I said, when they were kind of having a couple of players on the flank, trying to put that flank together, they were a little bit too concentrated on some of the players that were spawning out of their purview. If they wouldn't have been, maybe that would have been their round. But regardless, woulda, coulda, shouldas, out of the way now. Truly starting strong here on this control. Solo using the PKM. This is rare, but you know what? When it works, it works. And for Solo, it works for a couple of kills, no more than that. Truly looking pretty good on the offense to kick this one off. And you've got Codeine now really starting to force the issue through Laundry. If he can find some serious value with the equalizers here, might well just create the space all on his own to get this B point. For the moment, though, Truly actually seem more preoccupied with map control than actually capturing either of these points.
Yep. Cody, oh, my timing right there. His boxing gloves are not as well timed. Does go the way of Rejects. Solid progress early on B. And it looks like they'll be able to go ahead and get it locked in. So similar approach to what we saw first round. Question is, what does that push over toward the A side look like? You see some of the utility going out. Hunter Killer in the sky. Forsaken's going to find 2 to open things up, but once again, it is going to be basketball spawns as Rejects immediately able to reinforce the point. You do see a little bit of a life advantage, but if they can clear out Kitchen right here, Yawn's going to be able to find one, but unfortunately, the rest of the squad drops. And just like that, the wave is completely reset.
16 versus 16, 90 seconds or so on the clock. Truly hit, spawning towards bedroom side. Nobody from Rejects is blocking that spawn, so they'll get the close spawn to push in towards A. Rejects have positioned themselves very heavily towards the middle of the map here. This is a lot of reliance on the fact that they'll be able to hold these guys off around the open steps. And I don't know if I trust Rejects to be able to do that at this point.
Keep it up.
Truly now on their way. They've got a couple of players past open stairs. Now we're going to start to see some of the operators come out to play. Jez thinks it's time for the Sparrow. What can he get done with it? Space, as he finds two. Needs to be some value out of that Sparrow, and there indeed is not. On the other side, we see Jez only pick up 1 kill, Now a 10 versus 10 scenario. Envy going to find 2 kills through the money window. This defense has actually gone a lot more swimmingly than you might expect.
And there's still multiple operators ready to go. Normally, late round, a little bit risky, but in an opportunity to close out a round right here, you definitely expect both players to do it. That's going to be Solo and Envy. Claw, Equalizer come out, and all the kills go the way of Rejects. Capitalizing big time right here. Not going to allow Truly to open a big gap to start this one. And wow, what a nade out of Solo. Could not have been read any more perfectly. Only 30 seconds for Truly to make a push right here, and it looks like they have been read to perfection. Solo snaps on to Codeine right there. Just like that, only 3 lives remain. S-Thug's going to be able to find a couple more, and with space left all to his lonesome, Rejects going to be able to tie things up.
Nice investment towards the end from Rejects, I think, just to try and get around on the board. I think even if you didn't necessarily need them, I think they came in really handily just to make sure you are now on the board versus Truly. These rounds have been close so far. This has been the closest map of the lot. Truly now looking to put themselves on the board here. They started things pretty strong with the defense in round of 1. We're seeing the exact same look, though, from Rejects on the offense. It is a 5-man hit towards A. Yor now wants to try and offer some resistance through the open stairs. Has to be careful because he's going to get shut down. That heady that Rabala was on is a nasty one. But they are slowly but surely picking away at the defense here. I think Space just got tagged with a Hunter Killer Drone, but not actually killed. And Truly are doing a good job at picking away at this offensive line, but they've already got the second tick through here. They have to hurry things up. They have to remove Solo from the position. You checked it, but you didn't check it. Solo gets away with a kill there before finally falling. And the Rejects get away with 2 ticks of progression before having to revert back towards B.
And S-Thug's going to send 1 back to spawn right there. They get players hopped on to B. Unfortunately for him, there's a Purifier waiting for him. Heck's going to be able to pick up 2 and Truly maintain the life lead. Beams out of space right there. Jez still on that objective. He's got to get dealt with for Yawn, and timing does not go his way. So even with Jez having a bit of a slow game right here, Rejects are off to a strong start on the objective front. They do have to be slightly concerned about these lives, but a couple kills go back their way. They get all that progress on B, and all it takes is 1 good push that direction of A, and there is nobody in money room. This should be the opening they're looking for.
Should be. Rejects, they only need 1 tick of progression here, and Space is going to fire things back. There's a Haxis, I think, Predator Missile coming down. Not actually that effective, to be honest. Rejects still on the way as well. There's a late flank coming through from Haxis, but if he holds his trigger, he might be all right. There's kills going down on the point, though. He needs to hurry up. There's 3 players on the point, and those 3 players will stack for the dub. Just a little too late on the response there from Truly, and to be honest with you, I didn't like the Predator Missile.
Yeah, maybe not the best value that you could possibly find right there. Who was it?
It was Haxis.
Yeah. Small mistakes that can matter in a big way, Truly. In a must-win round right here, not only for the map, but for the series. 3 operators charged and ready to go. Expect those to come in. S-Thug's going to be able to find 1 to get things started right here. Not going to be able to take down Codeine. Big time to be able to remove any of that utility if you're Truly, and off the start, they are going to be able to find that A progression. Nice little flank play out of Envy. He's going to be able to clear things off, and there's a very real chance that we may see Rejects look to set up the spawn trap right here. Envy has been able to earn streaks all the way up to the Pred. They're going to hit a quick wrap over toward A. We'll see what they can do to ward off this push from Truly, but there's a lot of players to be dealt with.
Yeah, and those streaks are going to be really integral later on towards this control, aren't they? He's already going to use the Predator Missile here. I don't know if it's going to take 1 player off of A at the very least, but now they need to do more than that. They need to follow that Predator Missile up by actually getting more map control, because it won't be long before Truly are hitting this point once again. And it's going to come down to just who can win these gunfights. Yawn is already going to find 1. Forsaken in the kill feed gets another 1 as well. Truly well on their way here to capturing this A point. Just a couple more kills inside the elbow, and they'll be all right. Codine's already converted for a 1. Rejects is being pushed away here. But what is the response from Rejects, Bobby? Well, they don't really care too much about A. They're considering getting these kills and getting that spawn trap going.
Yeah, not a lot of value for Rabalo found from the War Machine right there. Oh, a nice little flank play, but he takes the shots too early, somehow stays alive. Solo is there and looking for the trade. He's going to be able to find space. So once again, they keep those objectives cleared. And the number one priority for Truly is extending out this clock, but you can't throw away lives, and there's the spawn trap. They've got it set up, and that's probably the beginning of the end. They get red, they spawn out. Yawn and Hex going to be able to find a couple right there, and it looks like Rejects do get shut down from that spawn position. So it's not over quite yet. They're hopped onto A and only down 3 lives. This is still doable.
Yeah, it still is. Truly gonna capture A here, you have to imagine. Yeah, with that stat coming through, yes. So an extra 60 seconds down the board. Just under 90 in total now to make something happen in a 7 versus 7. It's not over just yet. And Truly have a few operators on hand to use if they want to. But this has to be unified effort around the flank. Solo, one of the players you got to deal with. Envy as well. What can they do around the flank? Solo goes down. Envy's not going to find any value. So now Rejects down to their final lives here. Could we see a round 5 between these two teams? Now a 5 versus 5. Estux goes down.
Second guesses himself right there and gets caught out. Jez hoping he finds somebody on this flank. That's going to be the first one, and if he can get away with his life, that's huge. We see the operators come out, but Solos is going to go to waste. We got Forsaken with the War Machine. The Hunter Killer goes out and Truly take down the lives in a matter of seconds and are able to force a round 5 right here. What a comeback, but also what a cost out of them. We'll see how many operators are close to charging, as it looks like they do have a couple streaks to work with.
Yeah, that was a big round from Truly. Obviously, just stay into the control, but also just to have the streaks at the end. A couple of Hunter Killer drones that might be helpful for a couple of kills, of course, if they land. Sometimes they're a little bit janky for it, but regardless, through the middle of the map, Solo wanted to start this round pretty strong on the defense, trying to shoot through the wall. Rejects have yet to put a player in towards top bedroom side, so Truly's best look here will be to try and make their way towards A. Kills now starting to come through as well. Raballo looking for a flank through open steps, doesn't choose to wait, chooses to strike straight away. And to be fair, that is absolutely the right choice as Raballo finds one. Make it a double for him in the kill feed. Now more kills starting to come through. Rejects looking so strong on the defense, but Codeine now has broken that defensive line. Second kill starting to come through against Solo as well. Things looking pretty good here for Truly.
They get the objective hopped right there, and Jez just going to look to cut the map in half and do his best to prevent the reinforcements from arriving. Envy's going to be able to read one. They've still got the life advantage, but would definitely love to get this A objective cleared. Space going to be able to find one. Traded out, but Jez going to drop right there. And once again, you see that wrap back toward the B side. Truly keep them guessing constantly, and one player in position to make some headway over toward that A objective. So if you can get double time, it'll be good. But just like that, it's a full Rejects feed. Pred missile drops from above, but no value going to be found regardless. Rejects 6 life lead right here. Not a whole lot of time that they have to keep things clear, but you got to find value out of those operators.
Yeah, they wanted to immediately use that Predator missile to swing straight back over towards A, stopping Truly from doing any serious damage. Raballo finds yet another one. Envy, the claw in hand. What damage can he do? Solo going to get caught out by Forsaken on the other side. Envy wants to swing from player to player. It's not going to work. Raballo, though, with the War Machine, really starting to put the screws in now. Players from afar getting shut down. The life advantage, I think, is probably the biggest problem here, though, with 3 seconds on the clock. Things just not looking good whatsoever. 7v14, and Estug really wants to close this one out. The only thing stopping this game from being over is the fact that Space is just chilling over by Tiki. We get extra 60 seconds.
They give it up for free, but Jez not going to be able to hunt any from the high ground. If Codeine can find a miracle equalizer, maybe an opportunity for this to be winnable, but you've got to close an 8-life gap. Hex is going to be able to do the first damage. Takes one down with boxing gloves. But only 44 seconds to work with right here, and you have got to be so terribly meticulous. Single mistake, and the round is over, and they are not moving quickly enough right now. They've got to full send it, and with Estug taking down Codeine, that should be the beginning of the end. Nate does connect over top for Yawn, but once again, they're full sending through right here. Forsaken War Machine isn't going to be able to connect. Same for Space. They've got to go big.
Forsaken's going to find one. Claw being shot by Space as well. Is it finding any value, though? Yawn's found one towards the right, but didn't check the left-hand corner for Raballo, so that's one player down. But the most important are still alive here. Forsaken and Space. Time not on their side. They've got to go if they want to continue this round on out, and they're not going to. Rejects and the defense end up winning by lives anyway, as they close thing out in our closest match of the series, or closest map of the series, excuse me. 3-2. to Rejects. Truly held them extremely close, but right down to the line we went, and Rejects still came out on top.
That was a really solid control. I feel like, once again, this is a truly team that, no question, is really good on raid. I think also gives us an idea of how ridiculously good Mayhem are on raid, because they absolutely handled business. And this is a truly team that took both Rejects and Seminole down to round 5 whenever it comes to the raid control. So it feels like these top 4 teams, at least in this map specifically, very, very well matched. Oh man, oh man, oh man. It was a valiant attempt from Truly, but once again, just come up a little bit short, and they take 2 maps in the L column on the day.
Yeah, Truly did look good. I will say that much for me. I think they look okay versus Mayhem earlier on today. A couple of crucial mistakes, I think, could have maybe saved them. But here versus Rejects, cool, calm, collected on the hard point. It just came down to that final flip over on P4. And then as we got over towards this control, I think promising for sure. It was just the search and destroy where they got utterly, utterly battered.
I mean, and definitely some really good glimpses into the potential that Truly have, keeping in mind that it's still, you know, relatively new team. They haven't been playing together as long as the likes of Rejects have. And to be able to, like you said, Bobby, have clearly this map specifically nailed down, and to have done pretty well for the first 60% of that hard point. I mean, they're showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, no question about it. And I am curious, like, if they start to move toward playoffs, do they start to lock things in a little bit more, get some more reps in? Because like they said, like, this is just a bunch of friends that are playing together because they like playing competitive COD Mobile together. If you do really get things locked in and maybe buckle down for a couple weeks, like scrim every day, there's absolutely a possibility they can take down one of those top 3 come playoff time, assuming they can make it.
Yeah, that was I feel like a good test for them too, if they are able to nail down that fourth spot when it comes to looking forward to those challenge finals as well, to have a little bit of time in between there, like you're saying, to really get into those scrims, fix whatever small things they want to fix. But now we've got the leaderboard here, this final leaderboard at the end of week 3 for NA. Seminole at the top, 6-0, Rejects now 5-0, and you can see just how close it all gets from there, Brody.
Yeah, it's very close beyond that point, obviously beyond the obvious. You've got Disciples at 3-2 and Mayhem at 3-2. Disciples, obviously, we talked about how tough their road is going to be from here on out. For Mayhem, obviously, they've got the vast majority of their tough games out of the way, so they should be okay for playoff qualification. But I think probably the biggest one for me is going to be Truly, now sitting at 2-3. They've got 2 matches left. One of them is going to be Disciples, and that's probably going to be the key one. Whoever wins that one for me is going to be the team that makes it into that 4th spot in the playoffs.
No question about it. That's going to be the tiebreaker. So alongside that Seminole versus Rejects matchup, that will definitely be one of our on-stream matches next week. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss it, as we are now arriving close to the end of the challenge season, at least leading up to playoffs for both EU and NA.
I'm sad and excited at the same time. I'm excited to see some of these matches next week because of how important they are for this leaderboard. Also sad that the challenge season will be coming to a close, but then of course we have the challenge finals just a few weeks after that for our top 4 teams that you will see on whatever that final leaderboard is after next week. So pretty much you have to be here next week. It is now, because of the way everything's played out, the most important week of the entire season.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait for Rejects versus Seminole. That is going to be an insane matchup. It is our 3rd match. It's going to be so, so cool to see that go down. And to be fair, I'm actually kind of excited for the 4th match as well. Those last 2 are going to be super crucial. Obviously, the first one of the 2 is going to decide who tops out the entirety of the challenging season. And the second one decides who makes the 4th spot, right?
So Disciples have a big day.
Yes, yeah, they do. It's like Team Mayhem is going to be really difficult. I don't anticipate them winning that matchup, but it doesn't really matter as long as they beat Truly. That's like the key thing for them.
Okay, there's a lot happening next week. I'm trying to write everything down so we can keep track of all of it. But this was also an important week as well, and I feel like we got what we expected overall results-wise, but did see some moments of a lot of potential promise out of the teams that are going to now be fighting over that bubble next week. So before we say goodbye to everybody, final thoughts for this week.
I think the 3-0s that we saw today were not indicative of the actual series. I think Truly could well have taken a couple of maps away from Mayhem and Reject, so I don't think we should be looking at this as Truly are definitively the 4th place team. I think just Truly, are looking pretty good. I think just though moving forward, we now have kind of Mayhem and Rejects. I think they'll be feeling pretty confident about themselves going into the final week of games. It is just going to be about who gets that 4th spot, and that's what we're excited for.
I really like the new look Mayhem roster. I feel like the performance we saw out of them was pretty much on par from the performance we saw out of Rejects today, especially when you look at the way that they both played up against Truly. So I feel like that top 3 is all still very, very close to each other. And I think when you look at some potential for Truly to improve a substantial margin with maybe a little bit of extra work, should be a really fun challenge playoffs. Obviously, excited to see Disciples versus Truly, but they're going to need to put in a lot of work over the next week, and I really hope they do.
Yeah, well, as we saw, it is still Seminole and Rejects who remain at the top of our leaderboard. But they can only enjoy it for the rest of this week because they will finally face off in the final week of our challenge season. And then on top of that, our 4th place bubble race is going to be even closer than ever as all of our teams in the middle have to battle it out to see who will make their way through onto the challenge final. So make sure you tune in so you don't miss any of it, okay? It's going to be insane. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force for helping us make this whole thing possible. And thank you to everybody at home for joining us and watching. We'll see you next week.
Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force.
Get it, I'm on the mission, snap any minute, casually winning. Stop tripping on me, stop dissing on me. Yeah, I got a dream, can't take it from me. My fire's burning, I'm always learning. Tell me where to go, man, I'm on a journey. Yeah, I can't explain it, I get excited. Keep it 300, King Leonidas. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true. Where everything you want can be yours. If and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them. But most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast, I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes.